Sleep. Guys, the Game Awards was so good. Look at him. He's a little eepy boy. This is the first time someone's fell asleep in the podcast. We'd not planned for this one under. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the HGO podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ethan. Joining me, as always, are my good friends Kyle.
Hello.
Jack.
Hello.
And Hunter. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing just swell.
Can't believe it happened. I'm actually surprised that was all right. I feel like, sorry to break the mood, but I'm like, compared to last year where we just like rolled our sleeves up and just dunked on Jeff Keighley for 2 hours. I'm like,
yeah.
Did he listen?
That's been every year of our show.
No, there was one good year. I don't remember which one it was, but there was one.
2022 was the best one since we had done the show, and then now it's been this one.
Yeah.
It was so good I had to return.
Yeah, it was so good that Jack had to crawl out of his little cocoon and show up for the podcast. It was weird though, because we basically had a whole gang last night watching it. And it was fun. So yeah, that's basically what this episode is we're going to be sitting down, reviewing the Game Awards 2024, the 10th anniversary of the Game Awards. I'm not going to say that joke. That joke's staying in my head. I'll say it later. Remind me in about half an hour so I don't scare the kids off. But you know, it's a fun one. So we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna tie it all up into a neat bow, give our impressions on the reveals, the awards. The reward is a great 2-hour podcast. And just everything else in between, right? This could be a long one. It could be a short one. It'll be interesting. There's plenty to talk about. So buckle in, I guess. But yeah, it feels weird, right? Because it's like, it's been, 24 hours as of recording. That's how long it's been. The internet's had enough time to do its thing. And so we're sitting here.
To turn on it if it wants.
I turn on everything.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff that got announced last night didn't feel real.
No.
In good ways and bad ways.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was because everybody had gone in with the stupid hopium of there was a load of people on the internet was like Half-Life 3 time, guys, where I just then completely wrote the whole show off as going, right, okay, everyone's going to Looney Town, and then you actually get some good reveals. I'm like, oh, I was getting to the end where I was like, oh, it could. Like, this is the kind of show that we're getting. I'm like, I felt like it was more of a possibility than it ever has been in the past 10 years. I'm like, hey, fair play, Jeff, fair play. You had some good stuff here. And we're going to talk all about it. But yeah, welcome on in, guys, to the HGO podcast. We're here every Monday around 5 p.m. UK time, 12 p.m. Eastern on podcast services everywhere, and a little bit later on youtube.com/Hot Gamers Only. Housekeeping. We're still going, right? Is this the last episode to go out on the correct timeline, Hunter? Am I right in thinking that?
In the sequential order, I think so, yes.
Yeah, so this is like the last episode of the season being recorded, quote unquote, live. But don't worry, we're not going everywhere. We are still anywhere. We're still going to be here every single week. With your regularly scheduled programming. We've got a load of podcasts coming up for you. We've got our annual Game Award, our own Game Awards. We have got the fantasy draft. We have got a couple of topics. We've got a quiz. We've got the PS Plus. We've got loads of stuff in the pipeline. Christmas just gives us a good opportunity for ourselves to take a step back and a refresh by doing double the amount of podcasts and work beforehand. It works out a treat, ladies and gentlemen.
Just like a real job.
Yeah, so unlike other podcasts around in the video game sphere, we're going to keep on going through Christmas. We're going to keep trucking along. So if you need someone to keep you company during Christmas, you've got us, which isn't saying much, but, you know, it's better than silence, right? It's better than silence. So, yeah, it'll be fun. We've got some good
at
stuff.
least we're not your in-laws.
True. We got some fun stuff coming up though. There's quite a few stuff we're gonna do. We're talking. What is next week? Next week's good video, like good character designs. We did bad character designs last year, so it's like stuff like that.
It's good character designs up next.
Yeah, good character designs. Like I say, we got a quiz coming up. Fantasy draft shenanigans. There's plenty of stuff. Yeah, plenty of stuff. Can you figure out the order that they're recorded in? Because we're not doing it last year.
Figure out the timeline.
Last year we did it where we recorded them all sequentially, so they still happen to be technically in order. Whereas this year they're all jumbled up. So you know, Have fun. Guess which one's which, because we'll probably forget. But it's gonna be fun. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled on that.
It'd be it'd be really funny if we recorded an extra one for like February.
Yeah, why
Does
not?
just to see who notices.
Yeah, why not? But no, and then as we wind down the rest of the year, obviously on the website you've got our top 10 game, top 6 game lists going up. There's some other little bits and pieces, little dribs and drabs, as we get into the new year, which is already starting to stack up. That February and March period is starting to look very scary once again. So yeah, make sure you're all following and subscribed. We really appreciate it. And thank you for the support over the past month. It's been crazy. We appreciate you all a lot. Anyway, general impressions. Let's start with overall vibes. And I want to go to number one, Jeff Keighley hater Hunter, because everyone Hunter despises Jeff Keighley. Some say that he killed Hunter's dog in 2016 or something like that, because there's just been spite for that man ever since. But usually you come off the most negative sometimes, Hunter. So how are you feeling?
I'm pretty sure Kyle hates Jeff more than I do.
I hate Jeff's shows. I think they're too long and a waste of time. But this year,
Hunter, I'm so sorry. I've blasphemed. I've absolutely. That is slander. You can sue me for that. I'm sorry.
But this year,
yeah.
no. Honestly, the show was pretty solid this year. Even number one hater or number two hater, depending on who you ask.
I think it just comes off like I hate him more because I'm usually more ambivalent about
You're more stoic,
things.
dude. You're more stoic in your hatred, whereas Kyle's a bit more out there.
Yeah, but no. The show still had its usual problems. I think it still runs a little bit too long, and the awards
block.
The whole just shotgunning awards. It's can't you just cut out all the fluff and maybe make space for these awards and maybe not put best fighting game in the pre-show? Hey, thanks, that'd be cool. But on the whole, I feel like this year had a really good balance of when he was on what trailers he was showing when, as well as giving the people, the award recipients proper time to give speeches. Crazy idea, I know, but after the debacle of please wrap it up from last year, it was nice to see him actually let people have their moments.
I think that's the biggest takeaway from this show is that he actually listened to the feedback from last year, the criticisms, the critiques. There was a lot of clowning last year, and a lot of it I think was rightfully justified. But it seems that he has. I don't. As far as I am aware, I do not recall a single instance of anybody doing an acceptance speech and actually being cut off or being walked off. It all felt like everyone was given the time that they wanted. It seems like most of the, yes, we still have a couple of the awards that are just chucked in the pre-show, which I think is always going to be a thing with the number of fucking awards that they hand out at this thing. But it seemed to me like there was less of the, listing them off during the main show. He only did that twice, I think, during the main show, where he was like, here's
and
two
a lot
back to
of
back.
them were overlapping categories. Balatro got an acceptance speech when it got the debut indie, I think, and then just the regular best indie was on the.
I think it worked
which
rather well.
If you already know that a repeat winner is going to be something, then I think it's fine to let that be a category that is one of the shotguns.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I also noticed that it felt like there was less egregious celebrity appearances and just random shit. You had the Harrison Ford thing, but I also think one, unlike other ones that we've had in the past, didn't stay that long, and because it's Harrison Ford, and also Indy just came out this week, so that kind of it makes sense. Where I'm like, fair enough, Indiana Jones did just come out a couple of days.
The only one that off the top of my head was like, oh man, this is going a while, was whoever that guy was with Laura Bailey was.
Oh, Aaron Paul
Aaron
from
Paul.
Breaking Bad. I can kind of
Yeah,
agree.
him.
That
I think
little
that
bit
went
did
on
go
too
on a little
long,
bit
but
long.
That
even
went
then
on long, yeah.
I'll still be thinking about, like, annoying celebrity appearances on these shows. My head will still jump to Falcon pretending he's a Telltale character from last year before I think of this. So,
It was, I
I
think,
wiped that from my memory.
they balanced it really well. I think that was the main takeaway, was they balanced it really well. Stuff that he had been called out on, like that, yes, did he still have the I can't wait to play that and it's AI slop or random shite like the fucking cat game that is very clearly just
Yeah.
an like piece of AI garbage, right? But there were other moments where, talking about the layoffs and actually doing it this time in a way that felt genuine in doing so, and actually
yeah.
representing somebody that has, people have been looking into it because of course they are. What does Twitter do? Is take something that's remotely positive and try and spin it in a way of, how can I make this the worst thing possible? So it's like stuff like, in the past, the guy that has been doing this award has worked with companies like Tencent before and stuff like that, but he's done this in his free time. This is a project that he's been doing in his free time to help people do it. So I'm like, you could, like, what, like, if even if he is working for Tencent, look, he's at least gone out of his way to try and do something with his free time to get more people back
Yeah.
into jobs. Like, it's like spinning it in such, I'm like, only Twitter can do this, where they take something that is supposed to be a positive moment and go, look at Jeff Keighley, the shill, this guy works for Tencent and all that. I'm like, fucking hell, just let it be a bit of a fucking W that he spent more than 5 minutes of the fucking show actually talking about the state of the games industry. He didn't need to
Yeah,
do that. And he
I
did.
really like that award segment there for Mr. Amir. I don't remember his last name.
Amir was
Uh,
right. Yeah.
the letting the speech that before Game of the Year that the guy from Larian gave too was really good.
The shots that he just let people take. Like, he did not
Oh,
script any.
yeah.
The fucking Muppets. Like, genuinely, my favorite Muppet bit from all of these, like, genuinely, having the two old Muppets. Bring them back, dude. I like that. Like, yeah, get them
Just
back in the
letting them
commentary
heckle
box, dude.
Jeff
Yeah,
for
let
the
them
whole
heckle Jeff
It
for
was
show.
the
just
whole.
us the entire show as well.
Yeah,
Like,
you could just
which
tell
was
that the
really.
writers were just literally like, what are the people? What are they actually thinking? Cool, like we've
My
all made
favorite
the
part of that whole
we've
segment was
all
just
made
the
the
whole.
joke about the
This,
one-sided friendship between Jeff and Kojima for
yeah,
years. It's just funny to hear
Yeah.
someone say it
exactly what I
on
was gonna
stage,
mention.
Or yeah, the guy from Larian talking about how he got pushed off the stage last year, or
Yeah, like, let me just make my speech I would have gave last year before
yeah,
this one.
or putting everyone's favorite member of the games industry, Joseph Ferris, on stage and just letting him do his own thing unmonitored for just 10
Yeah.
minutes. Let him go, like let him cook. It's just
It
a
would
little
have been
bit,
funny if he was the lone person to be shoot off the stage.
dude. I think my favorite part about, and we'll get to him when we talk about their new game Split Fiction, but I think my favorite thing was when he left, like his last thing that he said on stage was something like, I'm looking forward to being part of this community. I'm like, bitch, you have not made a single miss and you won Game of the Year 3 years ago. Stop acting like you're not a part of this fucking industry. Like, I love you so much, but my God, like, you're so good. Stop it. But I like genuinely the bits and pieces that Genshin block and all that shite. There is plenty of low moments, and the middle half is always a tougher sell than the rest of it.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
middle always sags, but this time he brought it back, which is better than you can say
Yeah.
about every other year, I think.
And
At least since the pandemic.
Jack and I, who were on the other side of the pond, and it's super late. In that second half, we were really
I
we were really
was
dragging,
dozing
right?
off.
Yeah, we were done. Before
I was
this,
like,
Your
Ethan, when's it
review.
end?
yeah, me and you were kind of done near the end of it. But even then, I'm like, compared to years gone by, I can't help but give Jeff props, to be honest. If the Game Awards are like this going into the next 10 years, it'll be a much more bearable experience, Like,
Yeah.
It's a much needed improvement.
it really is.
It's the first time in a while it felt like the games were actually being celebrated.
It also, like, there's always the classic joke of there's always something that's overplayed, whether it's Whoop or Watch, and this one was clearly, what is an Xbox? Shall we ask that question throughout the entire show? But In terms of ads and stuff like that as well, I didn't necessarily get like it didn't feel as intrusive. Like the partners that they were picking at least felt semi-relevant to the actual industry and to stuff like, Lenovo, Xbox,
It
stuff
was
like that,
an
Nintendo
irrelevant
Switch.
like Domino's advert or
Yeah,
something.
they're all like within the same, they're in the same ecosystem. I wasn't sitting there going, why the fuck are they sponsoring the Game Awards? Like it
Why
all
is the
made
Schick
sense.
Hydro bot here?
Yeah.
Yeah, there
Um
was no like goofy red versus blue Fortnite
yeah.
ad from a couple of years ago that didn't make any sense.
For the most part, I've got like, always have a critiques. You'll always have a critiques of the 3 hour show because of course not everything's going to be a hit, but for
Yeah.
the most part, I'm genuinely kind of impressed, and I hope that Jeff continues to work on it. I hope he doesn't go, right, well, that's my good deed for this decade. Let me go
For
back
10
and
years.
go
That's my
back to
one
normal.
concern with all the like self-critique things as well. Though is just I hope it's not. He's doing it just to cater to audiences, and the year after, like
He
later.
doesn't need to, because here's the thing with is the Game Awards. Jeff's got this monopoly now on this kind of media event with Summer Game Fest. With this, he doesn't need to go out of his way to appeal to the people that bitch about this stuff on Twitter. He really doesn't. So the fact that he's
Yeah.
doing this is he wants people in the industry to have a positive light on the whole thing. And I think if he continues
Yeah.
going down this path, it's gonna work out.
It's a really good way to look at it, actually, because I never thought about it that way.
And here's the thing: we always joke, we always clown on Jeff, but I genuinely, don't know the guy personally. Who knows what the fuck he's like behind the scenes? But I don't have any ill will towards Jeff Keighley. I really don't. I like
No.
from the interviews that I've seen with him, he's actually passionate about the industry. He's been in it since he was 16 years old, right? It's like he really does care about this stuff, and it's just like moments like that, like the layoff. Like the layoffs, like being genuinely excited and building up the hype for fucking Okami 2. Like, like just little bits. You can tell he actually gives a shit. And it's like, I want more of that genuine kind of energy being put into it, because it felt like at least the last couple of years, like 2023 and 2021, and, prior, sometimes it just did feel like he was kind of phoning some of it in, and he was just like, yeah, this is the award show, blah, 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 shit, Hydro bot, Whooper watch, get your Stadia membership, guys. This is gonna last forever,
God, the Stadia.
So much, yeah. But no, overall, I think you did a good job, Jeff. Still ways now. Can you fix Opening Night Live while you're at it? If you're gonna can we fix that one as well? Maybe stop it. Maybe end it. I don't know.
Just don't.
Yeah. If you just if you get rid of Opening Night Live,
No.
you could save you could redistribute good announcements
For the rest of the year.
the other two.
Yeah. Anyway, general impressions are over and done with. Let's get to the games. And as always, we start with the winners. We'll talk about the games that have gone by, the games we've played. Do we agree? Do we disagree? How are we sitting? How are we feeling? What are the scores on the board? Because we obviously did predictions for this a couple of weeks ago. How many fucking war crimes were there? Let's find out.
The answer might surprise you.
Where are we starting, Kyle? Which category are we starting with?
Well, I was thinking we just go down the list.
Go for it.
From our document. So,
Go for it.
Best game direction went to Astrobot. Which,
what is it? This was the one with Kojima.
Holy cow!
Kojima handed this one out, right?
I don't remember.
I think so. Yeah.
I just remember it was just a very
no, he did.
It was weird seeing Kojima here just as a presenter. That was a very weird experience. He's never done that before.
Showing a thing, yeah.
Kind of refreshing though. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Again,
it felt
do that more.
It felt like it felt genuinely.
Like you can't reveal details about your game, otherwise we're like way too close as friends.
Like this, the thing that I really enjoyed about it was they actually got people to present the awards that felt like they represented the award well. You know what I mean? Like having Troy Baker hand out best performance with Harrison Ford makes sense. Having Hideo Kojima do best game direction makes sense.
The Shovel Knight people presented the best
debut indie game. Like it all felt, all felt like it fit really well. You don't have and he is random celebrity 35 to hand out best, ongoing. Yeah, well, they did have best ongoing game, but that's Snoop Dogg. He's like. He is the best he is the ongoing gamer. He only plays his NBA and All he plays
His
is NBA and
defense,
Call
he's
of Duty.
probably in like 6 of those ongoing
Yeah,
games.
he is. He's in Fortnite. He's in Call of Duty. He's in everything. It all felt like it made sense. But yeah, who got this right?
We all did.
Oh, sick. There you go. Well done, everybody. Pat on the back.
Yeah.
And people were
Next
disagreeing
up,
with us. People were sitting there as if we were like going crazy with some of these predictions. And I'll just say, I think we did better than we usually do. So
we
yeah,
did
suck
pretty
it.
good. We
Do you have a
whiffed.
count? Do you have a count for how much you got right this year?
We will, and we'll
Yeah,
talk
I've
about
got
it
them.
later, Jack.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it though? Do you feel like Astrobot was? You've not played any of these games, Jack. Did you just sit there and go, "Oh, that's a video game"?
Short disclaimer: I don't know about games this year because I haven't played anything new for the past 2 years. But
Don't worry, neither is Twitter, so
no.
you have just as equal an opinion.
All right, well, I get to. What's the word? Never mind. Anyway, no, was it best direction you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, best game direction, Astrobot.
I'd say so.
Yeah. I think it makes sense.
Oh,
Like we
yeah.
all were like, that makes sense, dude. Like genuinely. I'm surprised how much Astro did win at this one. I was genuinely, even I was a bit surprised. I was
It's
I know we jokingly said Astro
Swept.
sweep, but I wasn't.
Like, short of the music category, it really was like nearly music and art, I think, where the two it didn't
If I
win
remember
that it was
correctly, I think
nominated for.
Astrobot won 4 of its 7,
Yeah.
which is the highest awards wins, followed by Metaphor, which is the correct timeline, by the way. We're in the correct timeline.
Like Splatoon anyway.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy.
There was one point I was filling out our spreadsheet of the winners, and we all got so excited when Astrobot won its like 3rd category. I started writing Astro Sweep into the box.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
Just like subconsciously.
Well, I just remember.
really
I
good
remember
to
we were
see it
talking about it
win.
when it won Family Game in the pre-show. I was like, oh, thank God it's at least like obviously thank God because Nintendo did not deserve to win that award this year.
No.
And that's also
Nintendo
funny
didn't
because I
show
think
up
this is
this year.
isn't this the first year in like the first 10 years of the Game Awards where Nintendo has not won anything. Like this is like
Yeah, they didn't get anything.
Yeah, because usually they get Family Game as a gimme, so they've like not even won a category this year, which is kind of crazy.
It's definitely refreshing seeing like Astrobot as a platformer win.
Oh,
like,
we'll
all
talk
these
about that with Game of the Year. I'm sure we'll talk
hell
about that a
yeah.
lot. But yeah, it feels weird because Microsoft and Nintendo didn't really have that much of a year this year, so it was like, oh yeah, weird to see them kind of sitting out. Well, I mean, Microsoft unfortunately still needs to have that moment where they actually have some good game releases. Oh no, Hellblade! What the fuck am I talking about?
Yeah,
They own Hellblade!
Senua got a couple of awards.
I forget that they own Hellblade. That's like one of those games where I'm like, oh yeah, they do
me
have Ninja
too.
Theory, don't they? That is a Xbox Studios thing. Of course it is. Sorry,
It sure
Phil.
doesn't feel
Sorry,
like
I'm cutting you short, Phil. I mean, you also cut it short because you decided to not promote it to anybody at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
At all.
But yeah, game direction makes sense.
Yeah, best narrative went to Metaphor. I don't remember what its competition was, but we all
They
said
were
Metaphor, so
all,
good job.
yeah, they were all.
Final Fantasy, Silent Hill,
other stuff.
We all said that it would be Metaphor because we were we were all 50-50 on Metaphor, Silent Hill, and then I made the argument of remakes don't tend to do well at Game Awards.
Yeah.
So
which
Final
Silent Hill
Fantasy
got
VII
0.
Rebirth was a good example of that.
Well, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was it did win a Game Award, so it was they at least got music, right?
Yeah, it's got music, yeah,
which was well deserved because as I pointed out when we get to that later, like 300 tracks.
I think it mirrors Remake's award record there. I don't think Remake won anything else in 2020.
Maybe part 3, guys. Maybe part 3.
Yeah.
No.
They're taking home the best narrative that time for sure.
Oh, for sure, definitely. When Dark Aerith comes out of that portal, it's gonna go crazy. Anyway,
and then it leads into Kingdom Hearts 5.
And then they announced that they're doing another. Then they're announcing that they're doing another 7 remake trilogy where they just turn Advent Children into 3 video games.
Oh my god, there is not enough material there.
They'll find a way.
It's just like The Hobbit.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Anyways, next up, best art direction. Metaphor took that. You two said Elden Ring, and I said Metaphor.
Can I just say it feels
good work,
fucking good right.
that Elden Ring
It
won
feels so
nothing.
fucking good that we all sat down, we all had these arguments, we all had these discussions, and it was all for fucking nothing because Elden Ring won jack shit, and no DLC is going to get nominated ever again because of the backlash. It feels good, dude. It feels good. We're on the right timeline. It just here's the
Good
thing.
work, everyone.
When Elden Ring multiplayer gets nominated for Game of the Year next year, I won't
At least it'll
complain
be
because it's a
fair
separate
enough.
game. It's a
Nah,
separate fucking game.
that's
Don't
new.
care. Fair play. You know. I am surprised that it didn't win one thing at least. It's kind of crazy. But you know, Metaphor
What was the-
deserves it.
What would have been the one thing you'd think it would win?
I think it would have won this category. To be honest, I think this is probably the
Yeah,
category that
yeah.
would've
I think I would have staked it on art direction if nothing else, because FromSoft has always got his wacky creature designs,
and I've said it before.
people
I
tend
really,
to
yeah. I think
skew
the monster
more
design
realistic.
the monster design
Yeah.
of Metaphor is fantastic. But the actual art design of
Absolutely.
Metaphor, even though it's a really good looking game, it struggles where it's still on the old Persona engine that was made for PS3. So it still very much looks like a game that was like from like 2015. So it's like it's very, you know, when you compare it to Elden Ring, which is like one of the prettiest games I've ever played, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can see why I was leaning that way. Happy to be wrong though, you know, happy to be wrong.
Yeah.
All right. Score and music went to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
As I say, deserve for the
Its lone
Gungaga
category.
for the
Yeah.
Gungaga theme alone, it is worth it, dude. Like genuinely,
Yeah.
And the soundtrack is just like massive.
300 songs, dude.
Huge.
300 songs, ridiculous amount of music to make for a video game.
Ridiculously dynamic.
And it's all good music. That's the thing, is it's not like
Yeah.
it's not like 200 tracks of shy and then it's like there's some really good stuff there. I mean, I love it. I think it's fantastic. But yeah, makes sense to me.
Was it
Yeah.
the same person that did the composer that did FF7 remake?
Yeah.
I think so. Like, I
I'd
know they've been
imagine.
bringing Uematsu in for like tracks here and there, but primarily it's been another guy.
It's been the new guy,
I
isn't it?
think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out who it is because
I don't know off the top of my head, but
Yeah, I don't.
my
know
guess
his
is it's
name
multiple
off the top of my
composers
head.
because the amount of music that there is,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
got to be like 5 or 6 composers for sure. But it's all fantastic.
never mind. Spotify just doesn't work.
It never did. Don't worry about it.
I don't think it'd tell you the composer. It'd probably tell you like Square Enix music or
Various
something.
artists.
It'll tell you
No,
how many.
it's-
It'll tell you how many times you listen to Sabrina Carpenter's Espresso, though, Jack. If you want to really find that one out, don't you worry.
Gotta admit,
Look, it's a
big
good
fan.
song, dude.
I'm not complaining. Hey, all I'm saying is I was on the Sabrina Carpenter train before everybody else. Okay, I was an OG. But
Ethan built the train.
I did build the train, dude.
He
I
took the
did build.
carpenter part of her name very seriously.
My favorite part was because obviously I did radio in the past with a friend, and I keep like texting him every time. But like it's like, you know, with her tour doing so well and stuff like that, because I was playing her on the radio like 5 years ago, and I'm like, oh look, because he used to go out of his way to play a load of new music as if this is going to be the next big person or whatever. And every time I just send him a message going, yeah, fucking who's laughing now, dickhead? who had the real foresight? It was me. I'm fantastic. Welcome to my podcast, everybody. I'm gonna take it over from here now. I'm so great. So anyway, winner. I don't know where we're going. Cal, take it back. You can have the podcast. I don't want it.
No, it's all yours, dude.
No, I insist, dude. I insist. It was
the
always
Final
yours. at the end.
Fantasy won best music.
Yep.
Shout out to Silent Hill. That OST is also great.
Yeah.
Yeah, now we come to some of the categories we all whiffed on.
Oh, thank God. We have to whiff on something.
Yeah. We got to take some L's here and there. You do. We're only human. Jeff's got to keep us humble.
Yeah.
Best audio design. We all said Silent Hill 2, and it went to Senua Saga.
Fucking hell.
If it wasn't gonna go to Silent Hill, then it makes sense.
Bro,
that
all
it
I'm
go to
saying is
Senua.
if the same people that fucking voted for Senua actually fucking played it, it would have done well. You know what I'm saying? Like, my God.
Yeah, it's insane, right? Like, where was all of this
Where was
buzz
the love
for
when
the
it came
game
out?
when it came out?
Bro, 5 people played it on Steam. Like, what the fuck?
Senua Saga is my Sabrina Carpenter. I was there first.
Oh god damn it!
Put that on the back of
Put
the
that on the
box.
box, dude. Yeah, you can have that one, Ninja Theory. Take that one to the
my
bank.
review
Change
fought
the
for its
review
life for
tag.
those 45 views.
Yeah, it
Uh,
sure did.
uh,
Anyways, well, speaking of Senua Saga, for best performance, ended up going to Melinda Juergens.
The first two-time winner
Melina
of the best
Juergens,
performance
not
category.
Melinda.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
No,
first
no,
two-time
that's
winner.
her name now.
Yeah, I
Harrison
told you.
Ford told
If
me
Harrison,
so.
yeah, if I was nominated for best performance, and he said, and winning the award was Nathan, I'm like, hello, I'm Nathan now. Fuck you. Harrison Ford just said I'm Nathan. I'm sorry, but
Like, well, this is life now.
yeah, I'm sorry.
But yeah, first two-time winner. Very deserved. I think I probably voted for Luke Roberts because
Yeah,
the
you did.
two-time winner
Mm.
hadn't happened yet.
I think it's well deserved. I
Yeah.
also think it's really hilarious that Troy Baker's never even been never won it.
It's hilarious that she could be like, haha, I got 2 of these and you got 0.
I think it is also really funny because now, obviously, we're not going to get to Indiana Jones today, but I have been playing Indiana Jones, and I can tell you for a fact that if Indiana Jones came out in October, Troy Baker would have been nominated for Best Performance, and I'm like, genuinely, there would have, like, it is one of my favorite performances of the year because I'm sitting there going, no, I'm not sitting there going, oh, that's a great Harrison Ford impression. I'm literally sitting there going, oh my god, it's Indiana Jones. Like, it genuinely is, like, it's like he's the perfect example of why Disney needs to stop trying to use AI to recreate people and just hire new people that can do it. Because I'm like, no,
Yeah.
Troy Baker is Indiana Jones. Like, there's a genuine moment in a confessional where this guy's talking about how he's cheating on his wife or whatever, and Indy just fucking punches him through the confessional, and it's like
Oh,
it's
nice.
so quintessentially Indiana Jones, and the performance is so fucking good. Where I'm like, man, if this game did come out in October, not only would you be nominated, I think you might have won it because it's like,
I mean, not to be a hater, the lady from Star Wars Outlaws, I haven't played the game, but that absolutely probably would have been inched out.
yeah,
Since, like, similar to Senua, where were all these people when that came out?
yeah,
Yeah.
genuinely. But she very much deserving win. Can't complain
Yeah.
about it really, not in the slightest.
All right. Innovation and accessibility went to Prince of Persia. We all whiffed on this one. So good
Again,
work,
if everyone
team.
that voted for Prince of Persia played the game, they wanted to shut the
Yeah,
fucking
if
team
anyone,
down. You know
or
what I
if bought it, at least bought it, but like,
mean? Hey, I'm not
choosing
trying to be a
innovation and
dickhead, but yeah.
accessibility is one of those that's always a blind pick for us anyway, since we're
I
all
don't think I played any of the games. So
Yeah.
that too, but like, we all don't really need to mess with the accessibility menus that much.
the
Not
furthest
really.
I'll go
Lucky
into
enough to be that way.
accessibility, the furthest I'll go into accessibility is just with like any kind of shooter game. Just like give me aim assist. Like that's how I went through the Resident Evil remakes.
Yeah.
Dude, Ethan, I suck at shooters.
Yeah, no, that's fair play. That's fair play.
But yeah, it's nice to see them take something home.
Yeah,
It was a good
100%.
game.
And again, I hope Ubisoft sits there and goes, what the fucking hell? Like, why do give games longer legs than what they need? Like, just let it sit, let it
Yeah,
simmer a bit.
Yeah.
sometimes things are a slow burn.
Yeah, sometimes sometimes you can just give a game.
It took
a
Among
chance.
Us 2 years to become an international sensation.
Like, honestly, it's kind of shocking. But that team is apparently on Rayman, so it's like, Godspeed, make the fucking sickest Rayman game that's ever. Well, good luck, because Rayman Legends is so fucking peak, it's unreal. But make the second greatest Rayman game of all time. You can do it. I believe in you. But yeah, cool that team got some recognition.
For sure. Games for Impact went to Neva. Ethan guessed that one correct, so good work.
Wow, I'm great. That was 100% a blind shot. But
Yep.
I'll take it. We
Yeah,
take
it's
blind
like
shots.
Games for Impact was one of those ones where I could have reasonably seen it being any of the ones that I had played a little bit of, at least. Like,
Bro,
I
if it was,
believe my guess was
yeah.
I believe
Yeah.
my guess was Kanzera, which
Yeah, We both said
I
Kinzera.
was
Dude, if it was
undone by the
games for
fact that
negative
5
impact,
people.
Life is Strange would have been on a fucking sure shoot for that. But you know, it's fine because the damage that game did to the community might never be undone. But you know, no, that never made sense to me. It was nominated for
Yeah.
for other categories, so I was like, that's not a coincidence.
Yeah, that makes
It was a
sense.
numbers guess, ladies and gentlemen, and sometimes you just got to go with the numbers.
For sure, for sure. Best ongoing game went to Helldivers 2,
Yeah, hell yeah.
which, fair enough.
Not Fortnite for once.
Did anyone get that?
Yeah, you both did.
Oh, thank God.
I said
The Super Earth.
FF14.
The Super Earth, ladies and gentlemen.
That game, for as much as, people might have moved on from it, seemingly, which, I'm pretty sure its audience is still relatively healthy, just not world
It's just it's
dominating
not
like
world
it was.
destroying. It's
Yeah.
just a decent audience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just got a sizable audience now. Like, surely it was going to take something this year.
It took more than I thought. It took multiple, was it not?
Yeah, it got a couple. Like, I think it got best multiplayer in general too, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Just so you know, the new update actually, now back up to 137,000 concurrent players. It's actually people
yeah.
have rejoined the fight for Super Earth, ladies and gentlemen. Before the new update, it was still averaging over 30,000 people on Steam alone playing it, so it's still healthy.
Yeah.
Which, I'm happy for Helldivers 2. That was like the biggest surprise of the year. Is me and Kyle were, unknown to us, the biggest haters of Helldivers when the trailers kept showing up. Because we're like, who cares about? Like, who the fuck? Why did they keep showing? And then it came out and it was the biggest thing ever. And I'm like, oh God, okay. That's crazy. If we go, yeah, it's just like, to put this into perspective, obviously Overwatch is a bad example right now because of Marvel Rivals. But in terms of concurrence, Overwatch was sitting on Steam at around 45k. So, 35k for Helldivers 2 is still thriving. That's still a healthy player base. But yeah, well deserved. Well deserved.
Yeah. Best community support went to Baldur's Gate 3.
The super patch. It won it for him.
Unsurprising.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see this game still being loved.
Yeah.
This game, Baldur's Gate's awesome.
It will sit. It'll. It's one of those games. It's like, I feel like it sits in the same place that The Witcher 3.
Yeah,
and
it's gonna be like
sit
when we
in,
get to the
just the
when we get
evergreen
to
loving game.
PlayStation 6, people are gonna be looking back and being like, this was this generation's one of these.
It happens like every 5 or so years, right? Like, I think it is.
Yeah.
It was like Skyrim, then Witcher, and then Baldur's Gate. Like, it just hits at the right time, and it just kind of, it's like everyone forgets with The Witcher that it's like before The Witcher 3, CD Projekt was successful, but not really. Like, they weren't huge, and then it's blown them up. I think that Baldur's Gate 3 has definitely done that to Larian, where whatever they make next is going to be like a massive kind of event when that finally comes out in like 7 years' time.
It'll be worth it though.
100%.
It sure will be. Oh. All right, folks, you ready for the rapid fire?
Go for it.
Best indie, best debut indie, and best mobile game all went to Balatro.
Balatro sweep, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
The world was shocked, except no one was shocked. I think this is the most obvious thing that everyone saw coming, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Well
Except
deserved.
for everyone who was still refusing to learn what it was.
People live in a funny world, but
Stupid.
it's all good.
Best VR AR went to Batman.
Yeah.
We both have that.
Yeah.
We all said Batman, yeah.
Cool.
Because who knows what its competition
Recency bias,
was.
dude. Recency bias. It was either that or Asgard's Wrath 2, but that came out like in December last year, so it was definitely recency bias. Don't worry, Jack. Hold on. We're nearly at the new games. Just hold on a little longer, buddy. You can do it.
I was gonna say, I felt like Batman would have been my choice, even though I know.
Yeah, because it's recency. You see, you're on it, Jack. You're on it. So it's the VR game that came
I'm
out
trying.
last. Yeah.
He's trying.
Best action game went to Black Myth Wukong.
Fair play.
I said Stellar Blade.
Yeah.
Just to be different. but not surprising Blackmouth took it.
Yeah.
Next up, Astro Sweep back again, taking home Best Action Adventure Game.
Hell yeah. Well deserved.
That makes me very happy.
Yeah, yeah.
Best RPG went to Metaphor, Ray Fantasio.
In other news.
Hunter, you said Rebirth, and Ethan, you said Elden Ring.
Nice.
And I
But-
have a note in there that says, and Ethan cries. So
Yeah, I said that I'm going to say
If it
Elden
wins.
Ring, and I said because I'm gonna cry if it does, but at least I get a point. So I was like, hey, so I technically won that one because I didn't want my pick to be right. So I'll take that.
Best fighting game went to Tekken 8. Not
Thank God.
surprising.
In other news,
If it was
Water is wet.
multiverses, I was gonna actually
Yeah.
like javelin myself into
It
a
was
wall, as Hunter
multiverses
says.
there. Imagine that timeline.
I feel like in Best Fighting Game, there was like a very slim chance that Sparking Zero could have taken it, but Tekken,
Yeah, it was one of those
Tekken was
things
just
where
too huge.
if fighting game was an audience voted category,
Yeah,
Dragon Ball Z could have won.
especially considering how
you
fast
actually
that
think
game
so?
sold.
Yeah.
Yes, Dragon Ball Z's got a substantially bigger audience than Tekken.
I see.
Best Family Game went to Astrobot again.
Fuck you,
Not
Nintendo.
Nintendo.
Fuck you, Nintendo.
Come back next year with a new console and some fucking games done, folks. Go away. Go think about what you've done. Give me
It's so
3D
funny 'cause
Mario
it
next
feels like
year.
Nintendo announced so much for this year, but it
What?
was only for the first. It was like the first part of the year.
What? Princess Peach Showtime, dude? Like, no.
Bro, they had Paper Mario and Mario and Luigi.
Bro,
And
Nintendo
80
was
bit.
washed for the past 12
Zelda
months.
Echoes of
Yeah.
Wisdom.
Yeah, Nintendo had a bit of a fucking washed year when they decided, you know what? Pull the emergency Mario RPG lever and release 3 of them in the span of 12 months.
And
You knew
Luigi
that they were
Mansion.
You knew they were flailing when they pulled that lever, dude. They don't like releasing any fucking RPGs. Never mind 3 Mario RPGs.
Never mind freeing one of the good Paper Marios from GameCube hell.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And making what seems to be a mediocre Mario and Luigi game. But
Wait, was Mario RPG this year?
Mario
That was
RPG was last
it was
November,
November
I
last
believe.
year, but between
Oh,
So,
between-
in the span of 12 months,
November
you got
to
3 Mario
November.
RPGs, yeah.
Madness.
Don't worry, you won't get another one for another 5, so enjoy that 12-month period,
It's
kids.
true. You're gonna get a Sticker Star remake next, and you're gonna like it.
Oh, I hope
Oh,
so.
they
I'll
can't-
laugh.
I hope they don't skip over Super Paper Mario. I'm interested in that one.
Right.
Best sim and strategy. It wasn't
Sims.
Unicorn Overlord, so who cares?
What was it?
It was
Frostpunk?
Frostpunk
2. Everyone's favorite game, Frostpunk 2.
Hey, you got like an 85 or something. Wasn't that on my fancy critic?
Torn Lord got an 89!
what?
Or an 88!
I think it dropped to 87 at the end of the day.
It wasn't real. It
But,
can't hurt you.
Yeah, I guess. I think I threw in the vote for Unicorn Overlord.
Yeah, you all
in
voted
solidarity.
for Corn
in
Lord with me.
solidarity, yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah.
appreciate the gesture.
I think if I was thinking a bit more with my, if I wanted the point, it would have probably been Frostpunk because these nerds like that
Yeah,
kind of
if
thing.
I wanted the point, I also would have voted for the one that gave me the point. Dude, like that in retrospect, yeah, you got a point, Hunter. You got a good one. I'm gonna do that next year.
because-
Next year, I'm gonna vote for the one that gives me the
Like,
point.
dude, just pick games that'll
like-
get you wins. Smile.
Frostpunk
that
is one
easy
of
to
those
win
things
the
that is
fantasy
like it
draft.
tickles the fancy of these dorks who like these kind of games. So of course it would win that one. Whereas like
Whatever you
normal
say,
people
sweetie.
like Kyle.
Whatever. Oh come
you
on,
know,
no! Don't go. The normal kids yearn for the strategy anime games. Dude, no.
Come back next year when
More than the lame freezing to death game.
comes out.
Oh, I'm not playing that. You couldn't fucking pay
That
me.
is not seeing any nomination anywhere.
Maybe in
still
the
can't believe that shit
HGAs for that
exists,
came out
dude.
this year. Maybe that. Right, move on. What's next?
Anyways, Unicorn Overlord, great. Go play it. Go read
Mhm.
my article about it.
Yeah.
Best sports and racing game. It
Oh,
went
good.
to EA Soccer. Good job. Who
Congrats, Hunter.
cares? Best
Yep.
multiplayer went to Helldivers 2. Deserved. Good job. Best adaptation went to Fallout. Fuck you, Hunter.
That's right.
It was the smart
Most
play. That was a good one.
most anticipated game went to GTA 6. Who surprised?
Water is wet. See you in 2025
Ga-
for the same fucking
Yeah.
result.
And game of the year, Astro Sweep. Good job, everyone. Yay, we did it.
Hell
Now
yeah.
let's count the war crimes.
Okay.
So Hunter guessed 7 war crimes, Ethan guessed 8, and I said 10.
Yeah.
So that brings us to our war crimes list.
For those of you who are not unaware, these are things that we think are there's no
They
forgiveness
should
for
be
this. They
against
should,
the
yeah,
Geneva Convention.
yeah, basically,
Cringe bad.
yeah, unacceptable behavior at the Game Awards.
Which, may I add, the start of the show was, I can't remember who was it. Jeff Keighley was like announcing guys that attended the awards.
Oh yeah, the
Oh
farmer,
yeah, and
the Ken
Mr.
Kutaragi.
PlayStation
Yeah,
thought he
Ken
was being
Kutaragi
invited
thought
on
he was
stage.
invited on stage.
It was the
Yeah.
Yeah,
most cringe
that
thing.
was
He's
embarrassing.
like, got up, he's sat there like, I'm
Bro,
ready.
the cameraman
He's like,
was in on
"No."
it. He was like, "Yeah, he's going up on stage as well. I'll follow him. We'll do the pan
He's like,
shot."
speech.
Speech.
Oh, fucking
My god,
hell.
he's trying to rush the stage.
It's Bill Clinton, kid.
Someone's
got a
I was
new
gonna say
disguise.
Bill
It's just
Clinton.
Bill Clinton kid in a trench coat.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Anyways, over in War Crime Land, we've got Rematch, a soccer game from the Seafood devs that was shown in the
Oh.
pre-show.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty bad,
The
dude.
funniest part is that, like, I'm definitely not going to go out of my way to play this, but the chances are not 0 that I eventually, give it a whirl if they give it to me for free, because my siblings and I like to play soccer games.
Yeah.
Bro,
So
I was
I'll let you know if that happens.
Bro,
but
I wasn't. The children
why?
who played Sifu were not yearning for FIFA Street from Sifu devs, dude. That's not what
Like,
we were
if-
yearning for.
The thing
if you could
is,
throw an
like,
elbow into somebody's head while you're like, instead of slide tackling or something, then maybe they'd be onto something. But it's just like you do a bit more flips with your kicks instead of standard bicycle kicks.
This-
and it's
What I
FIFA
said
Street.
yesterday. Just give them all guns.
like, this is gonna sound like a stupid sentence, and I know it is, so Hunter, please don't yell at me for saying it, but it truly just looks like Rocket League without the cars.
Yeah, no, it does because the arenas,
Like-
Oh,
the
yeah,
arenas. No, I said this during
100%.
the car. I said this when we were talking when we were.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think Ethan
talking
already
over
said
it.
that.
Because it was the Rocket League arenas. The football stadiums were made as if they were for Rocket League because they were like underwater and doing stupid shit. But then you just had normal
Yeah, they all
guys
had the
running
force
around
field.
them like it was
Yeah.
FIFA Street.
And they're just playing soccer.
Yeah,
the
they
whole,
were
like,
also just
collision,
soccer
yeah.
players. They weren't even like real soccer players, or they weren't imaginary soccer players that with
Yeah.
like some sauce. They were just
They didn't have Sifu Steve in there either.
yeah. They didn't have Sifu Steve or Zlatan Ibrahimovic. No one wins.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, totally. Anyway,
Next up, Randy Pitchford showed up for Borderlands 4.
oh, did we count?
We
that as
don't
a
like
war cry?
Borderlands
I
on
thought it
this
was I just thought it
show.
was Borderlands was the war cry. We knew the. I mean, both can be true, I guess. I think here's the thing: was we knew Borderlands 4 was there. I wasn't initially going
Yeah.
to be like war crime, but it was also that they came with like the most sourceless trailer I've ever seen, even by a Borderlands standard. Where I was like,
It just looked like every other Borderlands.
Borderlands 3 convinced me to at least play it because it felt like an event because there hadn't been a Borderlands game in like 7 years. Where it's been like it will have been 6 since Borderlands 3, and I'm like, no one has missed. I've not missed Borderlands. Has anyone missed Borderlands? Like there was no snarky villain. There was no nothing. It just looked bland. I was like, no, that just trailer did. It had nothing going for it. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I played one Borderlands, and
that's enough.
No,
Once you played
like-
one Borderlands, you played enough
yeah,
Borderlands.
yeah. Once you
Yeah.
and like 1.5 technically. I think I played the pre-sequel too, but whatever. Yeah, I never yearned for another one. I thought it was novel at the time because all that in the realm of shooters, the only other thing that existed were sauceless military shooters.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
having a personality of some description, even if it is loud and abrasive, was still a refreshing change of pace.
But now that personality is in everything,
Yeah.
And
and
it also
it's
very much
getting
died
kind of
in
tiring.
2012. It died in 2012. The humor died in
Yeah.
2012. And I think what doesn't help is the Gearbox, and I'm sure there are so many wonderful, talented people at Gearbox, but I think that the higher ups don't understand what made the original Borderlands and Borderlands 2 work. And then,
Mm.
for example, Tales from the Borderlands comes out, and it's quite possibly the best thing that IP has ever released. And then Randy Pitchford sees that and goes, "We're not going to let Telltale make another one of those ever again, and we're going to bring this IP back in-house 5 years later and make the worst fucking thing you've ever seen in your life." Like, that sounds like a plan to me. And it's like, no. Why? People
Yeah.
weren't just asking for a new Tales from the
Unfortunately,
Borderlands for the sake of it. They wanted what we had, not
yeah.
what we...
Unfortunately, Gearbox is being ran by a jealous frat boy.
Yeah. I just, I will not be buying Borderlands 4. I can tell you that for a fact.
Nope.
Um,
Our next war crime is the Dungeon Fighter Genshin game.
but I don't remember what that fucking was. Which one was this?
It was the one that came right after the
Oh, the
3
what?
minutes
Yeah.
cinematic trailer
Oh,
with the guy
was it
from
SNF?
DNF.
Presented by the necklace guy.
Yeah.
Wait, the one that turned into
DNF,
an
the
anime
DNF one, the
atmosphere.
DNF.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
DNF one.
Oh
Fucking
yeah,
awful.
because Ethan was absolutely
So bad. That whole block
fuming.
of the show was like the worst.
Yeah.
Well, that's when it started to.
Yeah. Fair play.
Next up, I just put Squid Games.
Yeah, Squid Game showed up.
Oh
Yeah,
my
fair enough.
God.
Yeah, that was awful.
Right. I'll take
The only-
missing the point of the story for 500, Alex.
The only redeeming factor was the 5 seconds of Kyle Bossman acting scared in the audience. Like that was the only good part where I was like, "Look, there's my guy," and then I was like, "Oh, that's it. Okay, still a war crime." I just want to say that, yeah, Kyle Bosman does not break the Geneva Convention. Everything else around it did, right? So it's like, he's innocent, Your Honor. He's not going to jail. Everybody else
This
is.
particular crime breaks the Geneva Convention on Kyle Bosman.
Did we get
probably.
Jeff Keighley's bad acting in there?
Oh, yeah, no, he was part. Jeff Keighley was part of it. Kyle Bosman's acting was superb, but Jeff Keighley's, no, bad.
What's going on?
What's going on?
He did a better job when Joker got revealed to the Game Awards.
Yeah, yeah.
That's because
True.
the room just went dark and it panned to the screen.
Yeah.
I must have misremembered.
Next war crime.
The Last of Us 2, parentheses, again.
Dude, you know...
Do you guys like The Last of Us? Because it's here again.
I know we'll talk about it later,
Again.
that they've obviously got their new IP, but I think it's really bold of Naughty Dog to announce a new IP, because now we know that the next 5 years of Naughty Dog are going to be obviously Last of Us Part 2 again, then this new game, then the new game remastered for the PS6, then The Last of Us Part 1 and 2 remastered for the PS6, and then the new IP on PC. I'm very much looking forward to the next decade of Naughty Dog. It's going to be fantastic.
6 years from now, we'll be getting a 10th anniversary edition of The Last of Us 2.
Remastered.
Somehow, some way.
Yeah, like fucking hell, just shadow drop it. Who cares?
Yeah.
Like, fuck me.
Like,
Did we need to know about
we
that
can
5
talk-
months in advance, 4 months in advance? Like, no, we didn't. Like, come the fuck on.
we can talk about it later, but like, Naughty Dog just does nothing for me.
We can talk about it later when we talk about
I see their
Intergalactic.
games and I just feel zero emotions.
We shall talk
The
about it.
audacity to say from the creators of Blank.
We'll
Blank
talk
Blank.
about it. We'll get to it. We'll get to that little nugget later.
Anyways,
Yeah.
next up, Hoyo Block in 2024. More
Fucking-
likely than you'd think.
Right, you know what? I'm putting
This
I'm putting
this shit went on for too
put this
long,
put
dude.
this in the document for next year, dude. If there's a Hoyo block again next year, that counts as 2
Double
war
or
crimes.
nothing.
Double
Yeah.
the war crime count, dude.
I counted it for 2 on this one.
4 then.
4 then, yeah.
Oh shit!
Double it.
Yeah,
my
I think it was
God.
mostly just because like it was back to back
It was
with
all of
Hoyo
them.
games that
Back to
just
back,
look the
yeah, it was
same.
awful. And
it's
then what
like,
was it? Was it Jack? Was it you that was like, these games have the same art style? I'm like, yeah, it's the same developer. They just won't leave us alone.
No, it was Jept. It was Jepty that
It was
said that.
Jepty, huh?
Yeah. He's like, I went to the bathroom, I came back, and it's the same trailer, but it was a different game.
Yeah, true.
Insane.
Very true.
They've done irreparable damage to like character
Everything.
design too.
Yeah.
And our final war crime is Infinity Nikki.
I don't understand why. Why? Who said this was a war crime?
I don't know. I
It
think we
wasn't
were just
me.
tired.
I didn't
I didn't say
claim it
Infinity Nikki
either.
was a war crime.
Honestly,
I just thought,
Infinity
yeah.
Nikki looks like something that one of my friends would vibe with.
Your Honor, I want to
honestly.
retract that from the statement. I want to retract that from the statement because I don't think it was. I thought that was just like, I'm like,
Your Honor, I'd like to submit the tapes that you recorded yesterday during the show where I said, "Is this a war crime?" and people said yes.
well, I want to retract that because that was it's just a little dress game, isn't it? It's like, what the fuck? It's just yeah. I don't have anything against Infinity Nikki. I was like, it looked the art's it was pretty. It's a pretty game. I didn't have anything against it. If you want me to find another war crime in the fucking document, I'll find another war crime, but I don't think that one was it.
Terraria 2.0.
Well, either way,
I mean, Hunter
That
won on
brings
war
up-
crimes regardless. Even if it goes one lower, then it just means the Hunter still won.
By
No,
being
no.
the closest,
Yeah, yeah. Wins by the closest point.
well, then we also have an anti-war crime. Per Ethan's request,
Yeah.
a -1 for Astro winning Game of the Year.
Yeah, and I stand by that one. I stand by that.
Yeah,
The
Yeah.
universe is restored to normal. Yeah, I stand by it.
so that brings our grand total to 6 or 7, depending on how you want to count things. Or
Either
8.
way, Hunter won because he said 7,
Yeah.
and I said 8.
So congratulations, Hunter. You are the winner of the Game Awards again. With 19 correct guesses. Ethan
Wow.
takes second with 17, and I took 14.
You're getting better though. One day, if the Game Awards 2062, Kyle will win. Anyway,
Please
will be
don't
games
tell
by
me we're
then.
doing it for that long.
There will
no,
be
don't you
games.
worry. Anyway, let's talk about the games because the new release, the reveals, the big things. Kyle, what were the big things that happened? We don't have to talk about every
There-
single fucking announcement, but highs and
there
lows.
certainly were things.
Okay.
The epic highs and lows of the Game Awards. Here
Yeah,
we
yeah.
go. Pre-show started off pretty cool. We had a Ninja Gaiden Ragebound get shown, which looked pretty sick, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Even as
it's
someone who's not into
being
Ninja Gaiden, it looked pretty fun.
developed by the folks that made Blasphemous. It looks like it'll be cool for sure.
One move away, which was like this packing up a car game.
It was the opposite of unpacking.
Oh yeah, that
It looked
one.
neat.
It was in 3D and you were putting your stuff in the car. yeah,
Dave the Diver. Dave the Diver's getting another expansion in the jungle.
Was confirmed to be DLC.
Yeah.
Set
Yeah.
for late 2025, which is a weird. It's weird that you would announce something like this.
I think
that
that
far
I
ahead
think it's
of
to
time.
strike fear into Rockstar Games. You can come for
got a
late
point.
2025, but Dave the Diver will be here to whoop your
Rockstar
ass.
fears Dave.
True.
Thick as Thieves. Who cares?
Yeah, it looked very.
Shadow Labyrinth.
Oh, this is the Pac-Man
You
game.
ever want a Pac-Man Metroidvania?
Not really,
A
but
thing everyone was asking for.
My favorite thing
And it
is
looks like it has sauce.
2 days. Yeah, it does look like it will be good by some description. But like 2 days ago, my friend sent me a trailer for the Secret Levels show that's going on.
Yeah, and there's a Pac-Man
And
one.
like, there's a Pac-Man one that I would not have guessed was Pac-Man until being told. And lo and behold, now we've got a weirdo. I wouldn't have guessed this was Pac-Man until I saw the little yellow circle just behind the character.
Yeah.
Kiora, multiplayer exploration game, blah blah blah. That one, that was just the one with the weird name
Yeah, yeah.
that we couldn't figure out how to pronounce. rematch Sifu soccer game. Like, I'm just looking at the image in the article I linked you guys, and it just looks like FIFA.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
just looks like soccer game.
Well, it is soccer game.
It's a loss to 2. Looks like another game in the same vein as Baldur's Gate.
Mm-hmm.
Seemed interesting enough, but might be PC only. Here we go. Now I think we're into the actual Game Awards main show part with The Witcher #4.
Hell yeah, dude. Thinking about this, but this was my reveal of the show. Probably, I was like pretty jazzed. I wasn't expecting us to see this game so soon, to be honest.
Jeff said games that'll lead us into the next decade. He meant it.
I don't think it'll be that far away. My guess on this would be they've just entered full production. So as of like they've been in pre-production for 2.5 years. My guess is it'll probably be a 2027 or a late 27, early 28 game would be my guess.
Yeah.
I can sleep.
Then after
Guys, the Game Awards was so good. Look at him. He's a little eepy
Oh.
boy. How
Oh,
can we
he's
talk
all
about him?
tuckered
He's
out.
all
with a squirtle.
eepy. He's all eepy. Do we just leave him be? Do we just let him snore in the whole fucking podcast?
I don't
Dude? Like,
know.
what
Do
do
you
we
want
do?
to remove him from the call? Mute him?
This is the first
I
time
just
someone's
muted him on my end.
This is the first time
Well-
someone's fell asleep in the fucking podcast. I don't know. We'd not planned for this one on.
Ethan, since the audio is coming, or you're the one who's recording the audio, maybe you should mute him and we'll like give you a signal if he starts talking.
What do we leave him on the screen? What do we do here, gamers? What do
Yeah,
we do?
leave him. It's
We
funny.
leave him. Okay, let me just mute him so that. Oh, there we go. I'll just mute him so
Yeah.
that. There we go. Oh, sorry. There we go. That's so funny.
Anyway,
Should we deafen him so we don't wake him up either? Should we do that? Should I server deafen him?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Let me do that. Server deafen. There we go. Right. Let him sleep. But we'll leave him in the corner. He's our little mascot for today. Our little sleepy Jack. That's funny. Right, so I can
Anyways.
talk loudly about Witcher 4 now without worrying about waking up. Yeah, my guess is it'd be a 2027 or 8 game. That'd be my guess.
Probably.
Yeah.
What I think is interesting is when I first watched it, I was like, oh yeah, this is miles away. And then I've watched the breakdown of some interesting stuff there. Yes, it was pre-rendered, but it's also in engine. So that is what the game is currently looking like. Rendered
That's a
on
good sign, at
the
least.
latest it says on an unannounced graphics card, so it's probably like a 5090 or whatever. Insert random buzzword numbers here. But yeah, I think this game it's gonna be fantastic. I like my hope and my dream was when I finished The Witcher 3 and they said that they were doing more. I was like, I really hope that it's Ciri that's the protagonist and that's the direction that they're going, and then have that be confirmed that is the direction they're going. I'm like, oh fuck yeah, she's my favorite character in The Witcher 3, so that's great. I'm really looking forward to it. It also follows because there's multiple endings to The Witcher 3. And it seems to be following at least the one that that was my choice in the end. That's where Ciri and Geralt ended up in my playthrough. So I'm like, oh, cool. It's just following on from where I left off. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It's really interesting though, because they did a deep dive, and this is a quest in the game. This is a cinematic that is a quest that will be in the game. And they were talking about, obviously, there's the girl that's going to be sacrificed and she's killed in the end. And they were talking about how, yeah, in the game, based on the choices that you make, she can still live. Like, this isn't like set in stone. This is like, oh, if you do stuff, if you do that quest differently, that girl will live in the main game, and it is a quest in the main game. I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. So they're far enough in development to be knowing this stuff isn't just random shite that they're just pulling out of their arse to make it look like the game exists. This is actual stuff that is in the game that they are working on.
Yeah, which is good to know.
Yeah, I mean, I loved The Witcher 3. I think The Witcher 3 is fantastic, and I think this is, again, it's one of those tentpoles where people are going to want to avoid this game when it comes out because it will be huge. And I think that with all the good PR that CD Projekt has managed to bounce back from Cyberpunk, and I don't think they'll ever want to redo Cyberpunk's disastrous launch ever again.
No, like whatever,
Um,
whenever they think they're ready, they'll probably take another year.
yeah,
They'll pull the Tears of the Kingdom approach there.
100%. Um, and I think it'll be fantastic. Having Siri as the main protagonist is great. New voice actor for Siri, it seems, which I don't know how people are reacting to that. My
I don't
response
know.
to it is I couldn't necessarily personally tell. I could, but fair
I
play.
mean, if
I
you're far
also
enough ahead in the life of the character, then it would. I feel like you get more leeway there
I don't think it's
if
that
there's a
far
long
along
enough.
because it's from what CD Projekt has said is you're going where where the ending leaves off in The Witcher 3 is Ciri gets her Witcher gear and is off she trots, right? Um
Yeah.
and this picks up before she has become an actual Witcher, so you go through the whole process of her
Oh,
becoming a
okay.
Witcher. So I don't think it takes that place that far after The Witcher 3. I think it's 5 years tops. So
That was just
but
throwing
no, but
ideas
I
at the
know I
wall.
think the reason is because I think I recall people saying that whoever was playing Siri was in their 50s. I think this is 100% something
Oh,
where, because it's going to be a new trilogy, this Siri trilogy is going to be a
yeah. You
thing.
don't
They
want
probably
to
are
switch
casting
actors
younger. They're probably
in the
casting
middle.
younger so that they can, similar to, what they've done in the past with, like, changing it because of it's going to mocap. So Christopher Judge is becoming Kratos because he suits the build of Kratos more. Just like it's probably something like that where it's like not personal, and people are like, "Hey, Doug is still playing. He's still in there." And I think the reason Doug hasn't been recast is just because I don't think Geralt is going
Geralt
to
is
play that big of
Geralt.
a role in it. I don't think he's really going to
Yeah.
play that big of a role. I think if anything, Geralt. I don't think they're going to Last of Us him. I don't think they're going to take him to Golf City. But I think what they are going to do is he might just be in a couple of flashbacks and then make a cameo appearance somewhere, or you can find him out there. But I think it's interesting. I think there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff on the website if you're interested to go and do a deep dive. They talk about why they chose Ciri, and the answer was it was fucking obvious. They were always intending to do it. When they finished The Witcher 3, they were like, so yeah, Ciri will be the protagonist going forward, right? Yeah, cool, right? Like this isn't a choice that was made for shits and giggles.
Mm.
But yeah, I think it's fantastic. Can't wait to play it in 5 years. Probably. It made me want to replay Witcher 3 though, so it's done that job. I was sitting there like I could replay Witcher 3 again. It's very good. Hunter should get around to it in the next 5 years before the fourth one comes out.
I'll either have played Witcher 3 by then, or I'll jump in on this one.
Hell yeah.
Either or.
All right. Well, following that, FromSoft decided to show up with their surprise drop of a new Elden Ring entry. Whole new game, Elden Ring Night Reigns.
Yeah. The co-op Elden Ring,
This looks
basically.
sick as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
it's an interesting take to go on.
It's hilarious that they've refused to like implement
Multiplayer into Elden Ring.
multiplayer in a way that makes
A
sense.
normal way. Yeah.
There's always like 7,000 hoops you gotta jump through to
Mm.
engage in it, and now they're like, well, full send. Let's make a completely multiplayer version of Elden Ring.
It's
It seems like
interesting.
it's taking place in like the before times too, just off of the little bits that they were showing. It's the vibe check I get anyway.
It feels to me, and I feel like people need to put their expectations in check. They've already announced that it'll be the same price as what Shadow of the Erd Tree was. So it's a smaller
Yeah.
project. And people have already noticed that there are bosses from Dark Souls that are in there. So
Interesting.
to me, it almost feels like they had an idea of making a co-op kind of Souls thing, and we're like, let's just make it an Elden Ring thing because of the IP being
Because
a big
that's
deal.
the one
Yeah.
that's got the juice right now.
I
Yeah.
think it's just gonna be a fun kind of multiplayer game with friends. I'm not expecting this. Like, I know a lot of people are like, oh, that's crazy. I don't know if we're gonna be talking like game of the year level video game here. I'd love to be proven wrong, but I think it's going to be more of a smaller project where everyone's like, that's a really solid like multiplayer entry in Dark Souls, where it's just like a
Yeah.
cool co-op
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, like they were talking. Apparently, the characters' builds are all like pre-made.
Yeah,
and
there's
stuff.
8 builds. There's 8
Whatever.
builds that you can choose from. And the
sure
idea
hope
is
there's a bleed.
it feels very much I don't know, because they're not advertising it as like a games as a service kind of thing, but it almost, the way that the gameplay loop that they've announced so far, where it's like you have this area of the map or whatever, and you have 15 minutes to explore, build up your character, get equipment, and then a boss spawns. Then you have to kill the boss, and then the map shrinks, and then another boss spawns, and then the map shrinks. Like, it's like, it very much feels like a session, but it doesn't feel like an explorative game like Elden Ring. It feels like it's more of a, we're going out on a hunt. It almost feels like Monster Hunter. That's where I'm getting, is the vibe of, you're going out on a mission, you probably play with your friends for an hour, and then you decide, do you want to do another mission, or do you want to hop out for the day? That kind of seems like the game that it is.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what it's like, though. Like, we'll see what it is. It's still got some of those Fromisms where it's like, no crossplay, no nothing. Like, everybody's locked into their own ecosystem, and I'm like, 2024, why the fuck are we doing that? You're having network tests, but you don't have crossplay? Like, what the fuck is this? Like, guys, come on. But who knows? It should be fun. Even if it is just Elden Ring, but with 3 people, it'll be fun.
I'm looking forward to it. It looks cool. Next up, from the creators of Ico and Shadow of the Colossus, we've got Project Robot.
That sure was
I
a
think-
teaser for a video game that we'll see in about 6 years. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, I hope
Yeah.
I hope it's only 6 years. Like the distance between the Last Guardian's first trailer and its release was among legends as far as the how long it took. So I hope that this guy gets the chance, and his team get the chance to, make it in a less tortured time frame there.
It's also Epic Games
But-
that's fucking publishing it, so 50-50 on that one.
Yeah, it's
It seemed to work well enough for Alan Wake 2, but
yeah.
I feel
So
like
I'll
this
be
development will be
interested.
longer than Alan Wake 2, so we'll see.
Probably. But yeah, I'll be interested in that when it shows up again, because I like the 2 of those games that I've played from this guy.
After that, our good friend Joseph Ferris.
Fucking love
He's
him.
back.
Can I just say, like, everyone has these
Go off.
conversations of, auteurs in the games industry. Everyone's like, oh, is Kojima an auteur? Is Neil Druckmann an auteur? Fuck both of them, dude. Joseph Fares is the video game auteur, dude. I fucking love him. He is the kind of person where he just shows up every 3 years, just chats shit, drops a banger, and walks away. I'm like, hell yeah, he is the goat. He's like, just I just love his energy every single time he walks onto stage. I just adore his energy, where he's just like, he just bubbles with this enthusiasm, where he's just like, he has this niche of co-op games where he's like, he knows that no one, like, that it's such a interesting kind of gameplay, like a gameplay like loop, and what an interesting world to work in, and no one else fucking does it, and he's just like, yeah, fuck it, I'll just make them, and I'll make the best of them, and I'll just be cocky about it. Where he's like, yeah, you'd be cocky too if you made a game like this. I'm just like, hell yeah, dude, just like live in it, dude, like absolutely live in it. I love him. I genuinely adore him. Like, I don't think
the energy he's got about him is great. It's like in like a family reunion movies, like the uncle that's always happy to see you or whatever.
And it's a pure, you can tell that it's not fake or it's that that's just him. You can just tell that is genuinely what he's like. Like the fact that when it pans to his daughters, and his daughters are not impressed in the fucking slightest. And then you think to yourself, and you're like, hang on a minute. He knew he was doing this, he was going to do this, when 3 minutes ago he was swearing like a trooper in the first half with his daughters around. And it's just like, what a Chad, what an absolute legend. Like, genuinely, I love Joseph Ferris. I hope he makes like 6 million more games, dude. I will keep showing up to the Game Awards for him. I love him. Absolute
The
legend.
game itself looks like it's going to be pretty cool. It seems like they're taking the same notions as what
It
everyone
Takes
says
Two.
It Takes Two is doing, where it's like it's iterating on a gameplay concept for every level. Probably not outstaying its welcome, and it seems like off of the eye test of I've only seen this game and I haven't played It Takes Two. It looks like uh there might be a bit more to the gameplay that they're doing here.
I was really impressed with this trailer. Like this is probably the trailer that I have watched back the most since um yesterday. Just because I keep watching it back and I'm like, it's very much like Astrobot, where I'm like, this just looks like fun. It looks like a game that's fun to play. And I think, It Takes Two, the funny horny book and stuff like that. I'm like, that's kind of, I'm like, that's funny. And the divorced couple or whatever, the family getting a divorce. I'm like, that's interesting. But the idea of two writers being forced to share a simulation where it swaps between their two styles, I think is just a much more interesting concept to be
Yeah.
running with, and having that, that juxtaposition of being in fantasy for one level and then just being dragged into a Metroid ass level the next is like, it's such an
Yeah.
interesting idea where it's like,
It'll keep things fresh too. Like as far
yeah,
as you'll never feel like you're seeing too much of one thing.
yeah, I think Hazelight just has their little niche locked down. I really think they do, where they just know how to make fun and interesting co-op games. And I think we need more stuff like that. And the fact I will happily stand by saying this, that I think that Hazelight and Joseph Fares are the biggest W that EA has had in the past decade. That is like the biggest get for them, where they just have a studio that is so quintessentially the opposite of what EA is kind of stood for. And they just
Yeah.
managed to make these incredible games where it's like, yeah, you only need to buy one copy. If you have a friend that's bought it, you can play online. The other guy doesn't have to buy another copy. You can just piggyback off theirs. No microtransactions, no bullshit. Like, you can just. No wonder these games, like, fucking It Takes Two has sold like 15 million copies, is it? Like, and I can 100% see Split Fiction going in the exact same way. I 100% can. It's genuinely one of the highlights of the show for me, and I'm like, I should really get around to It Takes Two one day now that it's free on PS Plus. I really should get around to it.
Yeah.
I hope it goes well. Again, it's in that March chaos, but co-op games are so rare that I think people are gonna go out of their way to play this
Yeah,
regardless.
like this game services its niche where even if it doesn't like pop off right away, it'll trickle down.
Oh, I think
in a way where it's like,
I think it will. I think it will pop off right
Yeah.
away. I think people will go and they will find out. They will see on Twitter or they will see on reviews. Oh, the It Takes Two devs have made a new game, and then they'll just go and pick it up. I think there's that word. It Takes Two, like I say, 15 million copies is fucking like ridiculous. That's 30 million people have played It Takes Two.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is. Well, following that, I think we're kind of getting into a little bit of the slump. We got Steel Hunters.
I do not remember this one. Like
Me
this
either. Moving
Horizon
on.
Cool,
looking,
let's move
this
on then.
Horizon looking screenshot. This is made up.
Yeah.
this is AI.
No, the cats one was AI.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't even know if the cats thing is in this list.
Good.
That'd be funny.
Shite.
I didn't double check that. Borderlands 4, we talked about that already.
Can I just say, looking at
Randy
those,
pitched
they
for
are
just
the
a war
worst.
crime.
Those they are the worst Vault Hunters I've seen out of this franchise. Like, the idea is you're supposed to have these four really interesting looking characters where you're like, oh, cool, I want to play as the robot. I want to play as the robot ninja samurai guy that doesn't speak, or like, and I'm looking at these four, I'm like,
Yeah, I don't want to play as any of them.
they all look
Why is the
boring.
girl with the coat? Her one leg blends in with the lining of the coat.
That doesn't surprise me.
It's super. It's a weird design choice. Like, why would you make it the same color?
Yeah, no clue. Like I said, I'm very I didn't have any impressions for Borderlands in the first place. I wasn't going in with high expectations, but I was kind of very underwhelmed even by a Borderlands trailer. I was like, oh, there's nothing here that actually makes me want to buy it yet. I'm like, you should at least, snarky villain or something. Fuck me. Give us something. Give us some juice. He's a returning character or something. Like, my God, you did nothing. But it is out next year.
Hooray. But for something that's out right now, Clive Rossfield has been added to Tekken 8.
FIFA Bros, you lost. How does it feel?
The second best video that Ben Starr was involved with yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like, cool, whatever, like
It's neat.
it's neat, but
Continuing on from Tekken 7 where they added Noctis. It's cool enough, I guess.
It is weird though that it would be Clive instead of like Tifa or any of the martial artist type characters that are right there for the taking for this
yeah.
game.
Yeah.
Like, if you wanted to be weird and throw a curveball and still have it seem like it fits better within the framework of the game you're playing, and I don't know, Sabin.
I don't know. I feel like 16 feels weird to me because 16 obviously only came out last year, but it feels like it's already years old. You know what I mean? Like it feels like that game is already like miles away. It's weird. That game just does not feel
It's because there's a
relevant.
whole lifetime of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth in between.
Yeah, I
now
know
and
that is
then,
true.
the
That is
problem.
true. But I don't know. I feel like Final Fantasy 16 is always going to be a weird one. I think Final Fantasy 16 is always going to be a weird one, just
Yeah.
by its nature of by how different it was to other Final Fantasies. Whether it, originally people were like maybe this is what kicks off the next lot of Final Fantasies, and now I'm like, or is it just going to be like, oh yeah, that was that one where they went
That
Game of
sure
Thrones, and
happened.
it would have been fantastic if the second half didn't focus on the weird alien looking fucker for the whole time.
Yeah.
I still look at that game and I'm like, man, that'd be like one of my favorite games of all time. Maybe if they had actually done a better job of the second half of the video game. If they had had a
Odin
good
would have
second
just been the
half,
villain.
yeah. My God, that first half is so fucking fantastic. My goodness. Anyway, yeah, go on, Tekken Bros. Go
Congrats,
have another
Tekken
sword
Bros.
fighter.
Have fun with Clive.
And Jill
Next up,
costumes. There's a costume for Jill as well, I believe.
Jill costume.
Yeah.
I think Joshua got one too.
Joshua.
Oh my God, that's the most offense you'll get.
Joshua.
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 Quarter circle forward, Joshua.
Joshua.
Down, forward. New Virtua Fighter game.
Cool.
Cool.
Ryugo Gotaro
Happy.
just keeps making video games because someone tell him to
Yeah.
stop making video games.
I don't
That's
think I
crazy.
realized that they were like responsible for that, or have they been in the past? Is this a new thing where it's like, oh, here you go, have this one if you want it?
I have no idea. But then they followed it up with another trailer for one of their games, Project Century.
This one looks kind of cool.
This one was very interesting
I like
to
its
watch.
vibe, like old Western, but seemingly in Japan. I don't know. It's neat.
They make a lot of stuff. Rio Studios make so much. They make so many games, and everyone, Yakuza, rightfully so, is very much praised, and they make a new one of those every fucking year. But they also make so much other stuff. They're the studio behind Monkey Ball. Like they make so much stuff for. Yeah, they just keep cooking. There was a lot of stuff from Sega actually in this show.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Following that, Turok Origins.
Oof.
Man, it's
Sure was a
annoying
game.
because like if they would remove the multiplayer aspect of it, I could see it being like a fight dinosaurs and an kind of exciting third-person shooter. Like if it played relatively similar to Returnal, but you were fighting dinosaurs, I'd be okay with that. way less interested now that it's like multiplayer and whatnot, though.
Yeah, it's turning
'Cause
something that didn't need to be multiplayer into a multi. Yeah, it's weird.
Because like structurally,
I just jokingly said it like at the start. I'm like, oh, it's Turok, and I wasn't actually
yeah,
believing
yeah,
it.
because it's like
Yeah, that was really
it's this
funny.
kind of a natural inclination to pick a dinosaur game when you see the dinosaurs in the
Yeah.
video game, and there's only like 4 to pick from.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for Hunter, Capcom did not show up with Dino Crisis this time,
Oh, we'll get to that. It's okay though.
It'll
or
be
their
next
other
year.
dinosaur game,
Oh, that one can
Ec-
stay gone.
Exoprimal. Is that what it was called?
That's what it was called. Yes,
Hell yeah,
Exoprimal.
everyone's favorite. And
Mm-hmm.
speaking of everyone's favorite, Warframe 1999.
Skip.
How about Splitgate 2?
It looked.
At
It
least
looks
this one
fun.
had portals.
It did
This
look
looked
fun.
neat.
Like this is a hour screw around at a friend's house kind of game.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it looked neat. All right, Hunter, here you go. Onimusha, Way of the Sword.
Oh my
The
god.
floor is yours.
Oh
Capcom showed up for us too, specifically.
yeah, this is
Well, yeah,
awesome.
like Capcom has a franchise that'll show up for me. What the fuck, like yeah, like I don't even think I have a
I don't
Capcom
know, dude.
franchise.
I don't know, dude.
I don't. Like,
Yeah.
no offense to Capcom, but I don't think they do cater to me. I don't think there would have been
But
one.
yeah. Anyway, like I was not expecting this, but it gives me hope for the aforementioned Dino Crisis. Like if they're dusting off Onimusha, they'll dust off anything at this point. Like
Bro, Capcom will chuck that shit at anything at this point. They'll just do whatever. Give it 5 years. They'll be
yeah,
another
like
Dino
it
Crisis.
looks
But they won't
look-
give us Marvel vs. Capcom 4.
yeah. Anyway,
Where
this
is it?
looks real good as far as like 2026. It showed some gameplay interspliced with the scenery shots there. It looks like they found a way to take the general idea of what Onimusha was before and bring it forward in a way. We're probably going to be kind of similar to Sekiro. I don't know if you'll be doing the whole stance breaking thing, but like Onimusha's whole deal, one of the things it's famous for is having one of the most satisfying counterattacks put in a video game ever.
Yeah.
And it looked like that was still present, and among other things. Can't wait to see more of it though. And like I'm inclined to believe them when they say 2026. They've been
Yeah, that sounds
good
about
at
right.
hitting
Mhm.
their dates, with the exception of Pragmata. But yeah, this is my announcement of the show.
Yeah, I don't know what it's been with Capcom, but basically since like 2018, 2019, something just flipped in their studio and they really just can't miss.
I would
They
argue that
very rarely miss anymore.
I would argue that the first domino was probably Resident Evil 7, and then it just
Yeah.
got exponentially bigger from there. Like I don't
Yeah.
a Monster Hunter World, Resident Evil 2 remake, which is the one that brought anyone who didn't come
Back
for
the first
7
time,
back.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then it just hasn't
DMC
stopped.
5,
DMC 5.
the rest of the Resident Evil remakes.
Yeah. And like I like and like people are getting annoyed with the remakes and whatnot, which fair enough if you're not interested in them. But I like that they aren't just doing this. They are dusting
Yeah.
off Onimusha. They released Path of the Goddess, which is this weird thing that probably didn't really turn a profit.
Yeah.
But and like Exo Primal, despite the fact that it wounded me as someone who wanted Dino Crisis instead. I like that they're still willing to do things that
To
aren't
do
just
weird stuff.
like they aren't just pulling the Ubisoft where it's like, Assassin's Creed and only Assassin's Creed because our other ventures have not panned out. You
It
know?
didn't make us $20 squillion.
Mm.
By the way, we fired everyone else.
Yeah. So it's good to see that Capcom just doesn't seem to be stopping with their forward momentum.
Yeah. And they've been doing a lot of good with like the publicity for Street Fighter 6 cuz after like the initial failure of Street Fighter 5, it's really good to see them make a turnaround on that as well.
Yeah.
Anyways, following Onimusha, we got Stage Fright, a new game from the Overcooked team.
Looks cute. I mean, I think this game suffers from the problem of
It's in the
having a
same
game. Yeah,
show as
it's same show as
Joseph Ferris,
Yeah.
so
as Split Fiction, and Split Fiction's obviously going to take the hype away from that a little bit because they are
yeah,
the team that
luckily,
does that. I'm sure this game will also be good. I'm sure it'll be
yeah, it'll probably be good. I'm sure they
Mm.
will have the foresight to not release at the same time.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
they'd have to wrap it up real quick because like it's March, isn't it? So yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, looked cute.
Yeah. After that, Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. New
Yeah. I mean,
new Sonic Racing game, it looks like.
yeah. Well, Sonic has to release a game every year, so I assume this is next year's Sonic game.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, Sonic Racing. The last Sonic Racing game was really bad, but the two before it were really good. So I'm hoping with the name of Sonic Racing what was it called? Crossworlds?
Cross Worlds, yeah.
My hope is that the idea of cross worlds will just mean that it's gonna be more like Sega All Stars again, where they just have a load of IP.
Where you're like,
Yeah.
they'll be like, ah, yes, Kiryu,
Yeah,
here you go,
Kiryu, Monkey Ball, Persona,
Eddie. Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, they showed literally just Shadow the Hedgehog in a fucking car. Like that's all they showed. They didn't do any that. There was nothing else there. Show me some gameplay, then I can tell you if it'll be a good Sonic Racing game or not. I can't based off of the title and a fucking render of Shadow in a car.
Tell us if we can indeed unlock the crazy taxi.
You could in All Stars Racing Transformed, so never say
Oh,
never.
nice.
Mafia, the old country.
Never cared for Mafia, so I don't really care about this either.
Yeah, this doesn't
The
do
only thing that
anything for me.
the only thing that I will give them respect for, which I heard today, Hunter, after having this conversation with you, because you were like, "Oh, it's just one of those PS3 open world games," It's just like that's what the Mafia games are.
That is the vibe it gives, yes.
Apparently this one isn't open world. They've just gone straight for a linear story game with this. So fair play,
Oh, nice.
figuring out
Well,
that
I mean,
not
to be
every
fair, PS3 open world, not exactly the same kind of level
open
of
world as today.
bloated as modern times, It got out of control at the PS4 era.
True. But yeah,
Yes, it did.
I'm sure this will cater to some people who like this like
Mafia
franchise.
has its
Obviously,
fans.
Take-Two have got it set for summer, which means that they are still, at least in this current moment, in the belief that GTA 6 will still be full. So lines up. This won't get delayed. This will come out in the summer, regardless of GTA being pushed or not. But yeah.
Now on to my announcement of the show. The untitled Okami sequel.
Yeah, I mean,
I never in a million years would have thought this would show up.
it's cool. It's cool, right?
Yeah.
It was beautiful. The trailer didn't show a lot.
Well, because they
Showed
literally
Showed enough to make a grown man cry,
they
though.
haven't made it. They haven't started working on it. That was announcing that they are going to be making it. They were just telling you that Kamiya's back, and then going, yeah, and by the way, we're gonna make this game.
The Kamiya being back part is something that didn't really sink in for me until
Yeah, Kamiya and Clover Studios both coming back.
Well, he's
Yeah.
remaking Clover Studios.
It's called. I think it's just called
It's just
Clovers now.
Clover, yeah.
But yeah, that sunk in more for me today, where I'm like, oh, could lead to more interesting things in the future when he's done
Yeah.
with Okami. Like Itsuno's gone now. I'm sure Capcom will want another Devil May Cry game eventually.
Yeah.
The creator of the series is back. That would be cool.
And I mean, let's be real here. Like, Kamiya will be involved in this, obviously, Okami, but he could be working on multiple projects at the same time. That is 100% a role where he could start working on a Devil May Cry thing.
This man might want to make a Beautiful Joe game or God Hand or whatever his heart desires, and I hope they let him.
It does make you wonder what actually fucking happened at Platinum. Like, what did actually go down? Like, you know what I mean? Like, to make something went down to the point where he fucking he actually settled whatever happened at Capcom. So it's like
which like I'm pretty sure that wasn't a very amicable departure
no, it wasn't
back then either. Like
So something
So
obviously happened at Platinum that was, you know,
I don't know. It's also like I don't know. Maybe Kamiya sees the writing on a wall for Platinum in a way where like
maybe.
he's tired of having to phone it in for a game to make what he wants next.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Maybe.
need to get Babylon's Fall and a couple of licensed games to be able to make a Bayonetta. Maybe he just didn't want to
And
do
then
that
even then,
anymore.
Bayonetta 3 wasn't even that well received. It was like,
Yeah.
No.
it's weird. It's interesting. But yeah, it's nice to see Okami. I hope it actually gets made. This is one of those things where it's an announcement of a game before it's even started development, where it's like, okay, come back
It'll
in
be
like
a
4
ways
years,
off,
and then
but I
maybe,
feel
yeah.
like it's not going to be the same thing as like, Beyond Good and Evil that isn't going to ever come out.
Yeah, or scale
Where
bound,
that
or
yeah,
something
where
like
that was where
Yeah.
Beyond Good and Evil was a goodwill ploy because there was a hostile takeover happening.
yeah.
Yeah, and now they'll be lucky to get Assassin's Creed out.
Just huddle, guys. Just hold on.
But yeah, it's another good things for Capcom. It gives me, not being in development yet, gives me plenty of time to potentially revisit the playthrough I started of Okami back in 2020.
You'll have plenty of time.
And
I'll tell you for a
Yeah.
fact, Hunter, that fucking Witcher 4 will be out before Okami sequel, Untitled. I can tell you that for a
very
fact.
probably.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I am very excited for that. And finally, Intergalactic, the Heretic Project.
I still hate this fucking name. It's been 24
new
hours and I
IP
still
from Naughty
despise
Dog.
it.
He
The
said
people who made
Intergalactic
Crash
just a
Bandicoot.
second ago. Yeah, all 0 people that are on that team, or that were on that team.
Dude,
you
it
know?
really, yeah, it's like, that really annoyed me because I'm like, not only is that the first time that Naughty Dog is fucking admitted to having developed Jack and Daxter and Crash Bandicoot in about a decade because they've been trying to not even mention
Yeah,
it,
they've
bar
been
the
trying to
Easter
bury
egg
that.
in Uncharted 4. Like, they've just kind
Yeah.
of tried to bury it. But no one that worked, like, Neil Druckmann did work on Jack 3, I believe, but
I think
that
it
was
might
his
have been
first game
Jack
at the
X that was
studio.
his thing that he was in
I,
charge
I think,
of.
yeah, no, but I think he started working at Naughty Dog with Jack 3.
Oh,
I think
okay.
that's but, like, everybody that made Crash and Jack are gone.
And like it's like the phrasing that's annoying too, because
From
they
the creators
specifically
of
said
Crash
the
Bandicoot.
Yeah,
creators. Like if
that
you had
phrasing
said
really
from the
bothered me.
studio
Yeah, from
that
the
made it, then
studio
it'd
that
be like,
yeah.
fine, you can see a lineage that like even after the people have left, maybe the games have stayed good, you know?
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
saying the
Druckmann.
creators, that's what the people who have to disband their studios and make a new game say to get cachet when they're making their new projects, you know? Like,
Yeah,
get a job.
Druckmann was a programmer for Jack 3 and Jack X.
Yeah. Yeah.
Designer and writer for Uncharted 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And then creative director for
The Last of Us.
everything.
Yeah.
Everything modern Naughty Dog did. Except Lost Legacy.
Yeah. Which is like, it's weird, right? Because it's like, there's a part of me that is relieved that Naughty Dog is making a new IP. That, you know, it's like, okay, thank God that it's not The Last of Us Part 3. Not because I don't necessarily want to see a part, like, if we come back in 6 years and they make a Part 3, then maybe I'll be like, okay. But I was like, I'm done with that. I need to see something new from Naughty Dog because all they've been doing is sequels for the past decade. Like,
Or re-releasing The Last of
or
Us.
re-releasing sequels for the past decade.
Or making The Last of Us television show.
Yeah, but you know, so it's like, yeah, it's nice to see something new from Naughty Dog. I really hate how, and I said this to you guys yesterday, is I really hate, and I don't have any ill will against Neil Druckmann whatsoever. Like, the hatred that the internet has for Neil Druckmann, I don't have any of that. I actually I like all of his games. Uncharted 4 is my favorite Uncharted. I really love Uncharted 4. I have nothing against Neil Druckmann, personally. I like him. But I hate that Naughty Dog just seems to have become the Neil Druckmann studio. I really hate it that when the start of the trailer happened and I was like pretty certain it was Naughty Dog, that the first thing I said to you, Hunter, was, Neil Druckmann said he's always wanted to make an Akira or a Cowboy Bebop kind of game.
Yeah,
And
yeah. It
then
was
what
like
comes out is Neil Druckmann says that it's like the inspirations for this game are Akira and Cowboy Bebop. And I'm like, of course it fucking
yeah, yeah.
is.
Seeing the little anime in the TV there is what I think clicked it for both of us.
Yeah.
When we're like, oh yeah, it is gonna be Naughty Dog, huh?
And it just makes me sad that there's not a single other person at Naughty Dog now that isn't allowed to lead a video game. Like, why? I like say I like Neil Druckmann quite a bit, but why are we just doing Neil Druckmann's fantasy project? Like, this is just like, you know, Sony Santa Monica has, Cory Barlog stepped aside for Ragnarok and was like, God
Yeah,
of War typically has a director for a game, and then they change director every God of War game. Corey was the first
yeah,
person to
yeah.
come
Like,
back and do a second one. They changed it
yeah,
up every single time. And he went off to go and start a new IP while the team worked on Ragnarok. And it's like, I wish we saw that more with Naughty Dog. There are plenty of people who are really fucking talented at Naughty Dog that could be making their own project. And it just seems like what's going to happen is we're making Druckmann's fantasy anime game that he's always wanted to make next, and then we're going to go back to Last of Us again. That's what it seems like to me, is we're going to get into the Galactic, the Heretic Prophet, or whatever the fuck it's called, and then we're going to get Last of Us Part 3, and that is the next decade of Naughty Dog. And it's like,
yeah,
don't get me wrong, I like the idea, we need to see gameplay of this game. I actually want to see what the gameplay is like, because I'm really interested in seeing Naughty Dog not make a shooter. If she pulls out a gun in the second trailer, I'm going to pull a gun out on myself and just go, no thank you. You know? But if they are just making an action game with fucking swords, that could actually be really cool. I'd
Yeah.
be interested in seeing it. The idea, I know Trent Reznor's done a lot of video game soundtracks recently, but having a whole game composed by him in that kind of aesthetic, I'm like, there's some cool stuff that could be happening here. This could be a really fucking good video game. And it's a Naughty Dog game, so the chances are it will be a very good video game. It's just whether I jive with it or not at the end of the day, because Naughty Dog
Yeah.
tend to make bangers. But it's a mixture of that kind of, we're doing Neil Druckmann's dream project again, and all the product placement that was in it. And I'm just like, this just
The
feels...
product placement was gross.
I'm like, this just
I'm
feels like
gonna
a
keep it
real...
a buck.
This just kind of feels like a really expensive kind of... I don't know. I feel like in my head, does Druckmann feel like he is this this artiste where he's like,
Probably.
He sure wants
been
to
on
be,
TV.
at least. Like it always seems like he sure wants to be perceived that way anyway. And then, you see him at whatever award red carpet he was at where no one was around him or whatever.
it
But
just... there's something like, I'm looking at this and it's just like, looking at the cast, and you've seen a couple of casts. Obviously, it looks like Kamal Nanjiani's in it. It looks like what's his name from Better Call Saul. I can't remember what the character's name is from Better Call Saul. But
I don't know.
one of the antagonists from Better Call Saul is in it, and I'm just like, oh, he's starting to do the Kojima thing where he's just hiring famous people. I'm like, oh, here we fucking go. We're doing this now, are we? We're just gonna hire celebrities instead of actual, Troy Baker, Ashley Johnson, Laura Bailey, Nolan North. They're all like iconic, but not because they were famous before these games, but because they were performers that were able to encapsulate these characters so fucking well. And now we're going down the... Almost again, he was like, oh, Hideo Kojima does this, I must do this.
Yeah, that's the thing that's funny about it. Like, in a way, it seems like he's chasing that. Like, that's what he wants. And he has to try so much harder to get it looks like.
But I don't know. I want to be excited for a new Naughty Dog IP, but I just don't feel like I can at the moment until I see... And I hate saying it, because I also know that there's this other corner of the internet that are hating on it for the reason that we all know that they're hating on it, because
they're hating on it because
protagonist,
it's a woman protagonist who's bald,
who shaved her head,
like,
and
angry,
and Neil Druckmann's directing
about
it.
that.
And I want to make it clear that I'm not hating on the game because of any of those factors. It is just because I'm exhausted of what current Naughty Dog is. And it's like they've already
Yeah,
been working on this game for 4 years. No, PlayStation has been going out of their way to not announce things too early, which suggests to me that this game is 2026, that this game will be out in 2026.
Probably, yeah.
And it's like, I'm like, cool, wonderful, whatever. But I'm like, we had this conversation yesterday as well, Hunter. Sony Santa Monica are working on a sci-fi game at the same time.
Dude, like, yeah, like,
And that could be
by the end of the
2026 or
generation,
7.
it won't
Yeah.
make any difference because all of the games will be out. But like, pretend that the release schedule was more than 2 games a year. We would be sci-fied out by now because we would have already had Returnal, Horizon, this game, Barlog's game, some other things that I'm forgetting probably. You know,
Yeah.
like it's weird how they all pivoted from one thing to like now it's all it's like it was like the Summer Games Fest a couple years ago where everything with the Callisto Protocol showed up and then
Mm.
everything else was also like this space horror game.
Yeah.
This is like yes, you can do live service games or sci-fi or single player games. Weird.
I don't know. Like I say, I really hope that when we next see this, that it's a gameplay trailer and it completely turns me around on what this game is. Like the premise,
Yeah.
right? So far, I'm like, Cowboy Bebop kind of hunting a bounty that goes wrong. You go into a planet that hasn't been, a planet that people go missing from which is fucking Returnal. It's just Returnal. It feels like it's Returnal.
Yeah,
It feels like it's
which is
stomping
gonna
on the
be
same shoes.
hilarious because I'm probably not gonna like this as much, and the sphere of critic opinion will probably like it more, and I'll be like, well,
I
this
want
is
to be
what
wrong.
Return.
I really want to be wrong. Like, I genuinely really want to be wrong. I do. I want to play this game. I want to see gameplay of this game and go, holy shit. Bad first trailer. I can't wait to play this. That's my fucking hope. It's my hope.
My bold prediction is I will probably like it about as much as I've liked Naughty Dog's other stuff since,
Like I say, I know
Uncharted,
that when the game comes
which
out, it's
is
going to be a good
I will
game.
think
'Cause
it's
yeah.
fine. It will be a decently made game that I'm not very passionate about, depending on, Druckmann's annoying nihilistic worldview seeping into the game might might agitate me a little bit.
And maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just because it doesn't feel Naughty Dog to me. At least not yet. It doesn't feel Naughty Dog. Because I'm like, even with The Last of Us or Uncharted 4, what I get from these games a lot of the time isn't not the hand-fisted messaging or anything like that there are sometimes but it's the heart of the characters, right? It's like when I think back to that first teaser trailer for The Last of Us Part 2 and it's Ellie playing the guitar in that derelict building or whatever, and it's just like you can feel the emotion in the scene. Or I think of Uncharted 4 and I think of all the amazing scenes that Nolan North had in that game, and I just sit there and I go and I'm looking at that fucking trailer and I'm like, I don't feel any of that. I don't feel any like. There's no humanity in that trailer. Like, there's no, I don't, and I'm like, it's too early to judge on that stuff yet.
Yeah, in defense of that, we don't know these people yet.
But
The
in defense,
examples
but
that
yeah,
you gave,
but yeah, no,
we already
yeah,
knew
100%. But I also, it's like I usually feel it from the tone, and I don't feel a tone there. Like I don't feel anything from that trailer. Whereas, like, I remember, watching the first trailer for Uncharted or whatever and stuff like that. I was seeing my first glimpses of that. Obviously, I know I'm looking at the fucking Uncharted haters society over here. But as someone who likes Uncharted, when I first saw Uncharted, I'm like, this is sick. Whereas I'm looking at this and I'm like, this is
What
what is it? I get
Like,
nothing from it.
this trailer, also for being like, how long was that trailer?
2
for?
minutes
5
at least,
minutes?
isn't it? It's like it's a 2-minute
It
cutscene.
was almost 5 minutes.
Oh, fucking
Yeah,
hell,
okay.
yeah. Massive.
And like,
But
for
granted, the
being
first minute of that was just like a space panning shot
Yeah.
for
to
being
eventually zoom in on the Porsche logo.
Yeah.
like, it's a tone. It seems like it was supposed to be a tone piece for it, which I don't think was conveyed very well. Because
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems like it was trying to be unnecessarily mysterious.
I think
telling us
I also think
nothing about
it's a
it.
shit tone piece. It's absolutely fucking
Yeah,
garbage.
yeah, because it's like space product placement. Adidas lasts into 3025 or something. Cool. but
Well, no,
like,
it's actually
you know,
1980s. Set in an alternate. It's
awesome.
set in an alternate reality, an alternate universe where space travel was conceived a lot earlier. So it is
Very
Cowboy
cool.
Bebop. It is fucking Cowboy Bebop. It is basically
Yeah.
Cowboy Bebop. Um,
Yeah.
but no, it's like I just sit back and I think about the first reveal of Uncharted, little bits I saw of that. I look back and I think about that the first time we saw The Last of Us. And I think about the hotels because it's basically the hotel scene. If you've played the hotel scene in The Last of Us, that was the first trailer that they showed, basically. And I just remember sitting there, and it was so like brutal, and it was so dark, and I'm like, this isn't Naughty Dog. This is crazy. I felt something from it. I
Yeah, I
felt
guess
like I was a kid, so I was like, I ain't playing that. That looks scary. No, thank you. Whereas like
yeah.
this, I don't sit there and I go, oh, this is a new take from Naughty Dog. I'm like, oh, Akira, Cowboy Bebop, no source. Where's the fucking source?
It's
what?
like
This could just be The Last of Us in space,
I don't
for all
care
we know.
really to know more about it either.
Yeah.
Like, because it's one of the only things that PlayStation's got on the docket right now. I'm like, okay, sure, show me some more at some point, but like, I'm not gonna be rolling up to everything being like, where is this one? I want to know more about this one. Show me this one, kind of deal. It'll be like a couple years from now, and I'll be like, I think it's about time for this one to show up.
I think we see it again. I think we probably see it again at Summer Game Fest. That's probably when you'll see it next.
Probably.
Hooray.
But it's like
Oh man, it'll probably be a disappointing show closer.
I don't
Again.
Mark your calendars, friends.
I just don't like. That's the thing is I think why I'm disappointed is because I felt nothing, and I'm like,
Yeah.
even as someone who doesn't necessarily like the gameplay of Naughty Dog games that much, I really do care about their stories, and I like their stories quite a bit, and I always feel something, and I'm like introspective, stuck on a planet. I'm like, I don't know if I'm just jaded, but I don't see a cool like anime music sword and go, oh, this is peak. This is the greatest fiction of all time. You got a fucking red like laser sword that looks like sound waves. Like, no, I'm not. I'm just like whatever.
Yeah,
With
it's
the
like one
Nier
of those things
Automata
where,
robot, I don't care.
yeah, it's like one of those things where it's like certain with everything about modern Naughty Dog that I've experienced right now, I'm not sure that, singular, potentially mostly just one person with a buddy that they're talking to sparsely, not like the,
hmm
you know, got a companion with you the whole time kind of banter. I'm not sure that I trust that to be engaging the whole time or at all.
Like, what do you think? I like what again? What do you think? Like, again, they don't answer enough. It's like if you're stuck on a planet by yourself, is it just going to be a lot of like I said to you? Is it going to be a Hellblade kind of situation where it's just a lot of introspective looks into yourself, talking a lot of her
You
talking to
see,
herself?
like if the writing is really good
It could
for
work.
that, it would work. I would be
But that's
down for
also
that.
fucking Returnal again.
Yeah, the problem is that's Returnal, that's Senua, which, as far as stories go, I like that more than all of PlayStation stuff.
I just something is off when I got more out of the trailer for Ghost of Yote than I did for a new Naughty Dog IP. As someone who was very much whelmed by Ghost of Tsushima, who was very much like, that was surely a video game. Thank you, Sucker Punch. It's like my least. Now that I have played all the Infamous games, I can safely say that Ghost of Tsushima is my least favorite Sucker Punch game. Like, I can say that now because it's been a year and I've played them all now. I can say that. It's great. It
Have
is.
you played Rocket Robot on Wheels?
I have played Rocket Robot on Wheels.
Oh shit, you have?
Yeah.
Damn.
Checkmate, atheist.
Yeah. Fuck you.
Yeah.
I played that ages ago. Yeah. And
No, that wasn't meant to be a gotcha. That's just the one everyone forgets.
no, but I have played Rocket, and I'm like,
Well, hell yeah, dude. That's awesome.
It's like, yeah, it's like it's just like I could just appreciate it for what it was. Like I didn't think it was
Yeah.
like fantastic, but I'm like I can appreciate
No,
that.
no, it was an N64 3D platformer.
And I'm
You just
like,
couldn't control the
but
camera.
it's like Ghost of Tsushima. I think is a very flawed video game in terms of its narrative. Where I'm like I don't fucking care. Like it's very basic. But then that Ghost of Yote trailer, I'm like, no, I'm willing to give Sucker Punch. I'm willing to give Sucker Punch another chance at this. They could really, this could be like an Assassin's Creed 2 moment where it has like an incredible story, and I'm in, right? Because they could. But this, I'm like,
Yeah, like if they condense the bloat
yeah,
and get rid of it.
then we can.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know. There's something about this trailer. There's just vibes were off with this trailer, and I don't know how to
Yeah.
describe it. But I just like, I want to be wrong when this game comes out, or when we next see it. But I don't know, dude. I could I like there's genuinely a small part of me that's like saying, and I hate thinking this, where I'm like, if they just announced another Uncharted, would I have had a warmer reaction to that? And that's saying something as someone who is like, I'm happy that if they don't do another Uncharted, very much happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Me personally, like, Naughty Dog games just don't do anything for me. I've never felt a reason to or a want to play either of the Last of Us games, or
Mhm.
I own all 4 Uncharted games.
There's
They're
at
all
least
on my shelf back there on PS4.
there's at least one and a half good ones.
But and they've been there since like 2017 when I got my PS4. Never once has it ever crossed my mind to be like, I want to play Uncharted today. It's just like something about them just doesn't really appeal to me. Just like on a at face value,
Yeah.
I haven't really dug beyond just like surface level Naughty Dog stuff.
I mean,
But
I will always love
and
Uncharted. I will always love Uncharted. I think Uncharted is fantastic. I think Uncharted gets
I'm
a
sure
lot
it
of
is a
hate
great
for
game,
no reason.
but
But it's a popcorn movie. That's what they are. They are blockbuster movies that are video games. And then Uncharted
yeah.
4 did something which I really loved, where it took a second for all the characters to go, wait, why are we doing this? This is fucking stupid. Like, it's like, time is it's finally catching up to them, and it's like I really like what they did there, and that's why I would hope that they don't make another Uncharted, because I think they stopped it really well. I think it's
Yeah.
one of those few franchises where I genuinely think, oh my god, all the creatives from the original trilogy basically fucking left, yet they still managed to masterfully land that plane. They still managed to do that. That's impressive, considering Amy Hennig left. That's very
Yeah.
impressive.
Mm.
And then I sit there and it's like, maybe it's also because I have this fucking feeling that Last of Us is just going to come back. Maybe that's also a part of it.
It will.
Where I'm
There's
like,
definitely going to be
Yeah.
a third Last of Us
where
game.
I'm sitting here and I'm like, I'm not ready to move on and give Naughty Dog a chance with something else, because I still feel like they've got unfinished business in this other thing that I'm still conflicted on. Like, maybe it's that. So, like, it's weird.
It's
It's really
also
weird.
like,
They should have
I
shown
don't know,
Corey Barlog's game. I would have been like, I love you,
Yeah.
Corey. And then I would have ripped my shirt off and I would have been like, show of the
I guess the
century.
problem is, despite it being, set in space and whatnot, it doesn't feel radically different.
No, because
at
you can
all.
just
Yeah.
it wears its inspiration on its sleeve, but unlike in something like Anton Blast, where it's like, oh, that's charming, and also it's a cute, it's like, it's a fun little platformer. This is literally just going, hi, my name is Neil Druckmann, and I really like Akira. Look at my Akira-looking ship, and like, look at this, and look at the Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, you
isms.
gotta,
It's like
you gotta,
Over under on them doing the Akira bike slide somewhere in this game.
you gotta
100%.
finesse
I
that
have
a little better when you're
maybe that Porsche turns into a
feel-
fucking car. Do you
Oh,
think that
God.
Porsche ship turns into a car? Do you think it
that
like
Porsche's gonna do a space version of that slide where you're gonna
Yeah,
watch its
100%.
little exhaust trail do the shoom Totsugeki thing.
100%. Anyway, I feel like we've rambled about it long enough. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
It's a
feel
lot of
I
don't know.
feel indifferent
Initial
about
thoughts,
it.
we feel nothing.
I feel indifferent. That's how I feel.
I'll
Where
probably play it when it
no,
comes
100%.
out.
I'll be there day one. I'll be there day one.
And I
but
will probably think it's all right.
I'll probably ignore it.
That's fine.
Respect.
That's for Sam.
Unless the gameplay trailer looks really cool.
I just think it's really funny that, this really expensive cinematic, which I feel nothing for, happens at the same time where Astrobot wins Game of the Year for Sony.
Yeah.
And it's like,
That's the thing that's potentially going to be annoying about this Astrobot Game of the Year win, is that Sony
learns nothing.
learns nothing. Yeah.
Or what they've learned
it's a
is,
very
I guess we'll keep
possible
Asobi
reality.
around.
Well, and they
Yeah.
already probably had all of these big budget games in the queue
Oh, 100%.
anyways,
Well, that's
Yeah.
how it works. We're still.
and it's too late to pull the plug on
If
that.
I'm starting to think, if we're in the timeline where I think we are just about, I think we're finally getting to the point where these are the games that Herman Holst has approved. I think we're finally
Yeah.
out of the Shuhei era. I think we're finally starting to get into the Herman Holst era with this and Astrobot. I think these are the first couple. But even all of these games that they've been working on right now have all been greenlit like pre-2020 probably.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
just after with Days Gone, with Bend, you know.
Yeah. Oh man.
But yeah, I mean,
Poor
they're not
Ben being
gonna learn their lesson till the
apparently
end.
on
Pour one out for Bend.
allegedly being put on a live service game. Like, I know that I know PlayStation for some reason hates Bend, it seems, but like, why you gotta do them like that? Come on.
No one deserves that.
Yeah,
It'll be like, oh,
that's really depressing, isn't it? The fact that they were forced to start working on an Uncharted game, and then they were like, "We're not doing that," and then they were like, "Fine, bitch, do a multiplayer games as a service." I would like literally be
which,
like,
you
"My
know,
God, that's like even worse."
like, by no fault, I'm sure that by no fault of Ben's, I would love to be wrong. For, I hope that for the benefit of them, continuing on, that this live service game looks like it gets its audience. But it probably won't. It'll be a very similar, probably less expensive than Concord, but be a very similar situation where it comes out and goes away very fast, and then they close the studio because they put them in a losing situation.
I don't know. Like I say, I feel a lot of indifference towards Sony at the moment as we move into the next year, which I'm sure is going to be very, very mixed for Sony, because I think there's going to be a lot of highs. I think you've got some big game releases next year with Death Stranding 2 and Ghost of Yotei.
Yeah.
But then you've also got everything else that's happening, the Kadokawa stuff. There's so much like mixed reactions at the moment, and it's like, I honestly, and we've been joking about it, I think it's Nintendo's year next year. I really do. I think Switch 2 coming out, big lineup. I think it's Nintendo's year next year. I really, because
Probably.
I feel like Sony is going to have some massive hits, like some big swings, and a bunch of misses too. I feel like that's just where we are, and Xbox is going to be asking the pivotal question: is this an Xbox? That's what I need to know. What is an Xbox, ladies and gentlemen? That's what we take away from the Game Awards. Is this
Has
an
someone
Xbox?
done the butterfly guy meme with that yet?
Is this an Xbox? I don't know.
Yeah, I
No.
haven't seen that yet. For as much as that marketing tactic is being memed, I haven't seen that yet, which is hilarious.
Yeah, if anything, this was the first one that was acting like an Xbox when they ported Ori.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's wrap it up there, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Did you have something you want to say, Cal?
No, I was just gonna say, like, any final closing thoughts from y'all on this Game Awards?
It was pretty good.
I think it's my favorite one since 2018. I really liked the 2018 show.
It's pretty special. It was pretty good.
It like I said at the start, it definitely did feel like Jeff knew he struck the right balance this time around. The middle section still kind of lagged a little bit, but overall, I think he did good.
Good job, Jeff.
You get a pass this year, Jeff. Keep it up.
Good job, buddy. Anyway, let's wrap it up there. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, Jack. We really appreciate it. It's nice to have you here for half of the podcast. Look at him, guys. Give your love to Jack. He's still there. That is not a JPEG. He is still asleep. Yes.
He has been moving.
Yes, he's
occasionally.
fucking knackered. To be fair, so am I,
Do some
but I
stretches.
unfortunately am not at the liberty to fall asleep during the podcast. But hey, he'll be on again soon enough. Maybe if he shows up to one of these future recordings, he'll be back on in a couple of
If
weeks.
he gets his 8 hours.
Maybe. But yeah, that's it for this week. We'll be back next week, same time, same place, for more. But yeah, have an awesome week, guys. I'm just going to wrap it up because, my gosh, I'm tired too. It's been a long one. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it. I'm going to be sleep deprived for the next 2 days. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with us. We'll be back next week for more. But until then, have an awesome week. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.
See ya.
Toodaloo.